Hello. Do 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 do. Welcome to the. Stay there, guys. Hold on a second. Whew, it's gonna get me in the retina if I'm not careful. Let's see if we can get these faces finished up tonight, and maybe on some bodies. Yes. Oh yes, and if you're new to my live stream, this is it. This is exciting as it gets. Alrighty. And we're listening to Gabby play through South of Midnight.
Yes. So now they get stunned if I pull them in. Yes. Let's see. It really reminds me of...
It's not my favorite, but it's somebody's favorite. That's all that matters.
What is it? It's gotta be here somewhere. Run, putties, run! Anything back here? Oh, yeah! Traffic lights. I'm guessing these ants are painful to the touch. There you go.
I think I should do a darker background than the blue, but that's fine for this time.
Does this clear out the whole bit? Oh shit. Would you look at it? Is it just to get on the roof? Oh! Yes! Topic grease! Oh my god, yes. Annabelle. We need this sail to go through between the weeds where this ain't what it used to be. Here's hoping Bunny Flood, but don't look too close to our numbers. I don't ask for much, but still that one bad hardly sink our family name. Abernathy. They don't stay that rich by being kind. No, it's real. How am I going to fit through them? Maybe just jump over it? Yeah. That's a lot of mushrooms.
Mushrooms? Yeah, that's a lot of mushrooms.
For a crouton.
Different color eye for this one. I think would have looked good. Hi guys. How are you guys doing tonight?
It looks so creepy. I love it. Hold on though.
Actually, I'm gonna skip this because I do want to watch it and I can't do it. My eyes are kind of busy, so we'll see what Food Theory's up to. Thanks for stopping in, guys. If you'd be so kind as to slap me with a high five on your way out, or a thumbs up.
Excel, do what feels fresh.
The Ferrero Rocher chocolate bar. Crunchy hazelnuts, smooth chocolate, creamy filling. Make any moment worth celebrating. Ferrero Rocher.
You know it, you love it, it's red. I'm talking about Fruit Punch. You might have even cracked open a nice red drink before you sat down to watch this, but whatever it is you think you're drinking, you're wrong. Because Fruit Punch is a lie, and I'm gonna prove it. Hello, Internet. Welcome to Food Theory, where no food color is safe. See, last year we tackled the mystery of blue, but I myself have always been more partial to red. It's sweet, it's tangy, it's violent, it's everything a kid wants in a summer drink. But have you ever stopped to wonder what exactly fruit punch is? I mean, it's everywhere, and every brand has their own spin on the flavor, so it never quite tastes the same. Other flavors, even blue, give you a relatively consistent experience, but fruit punch remains a mystery, at least until today. My goal is to answer 3 questions. What exactly is fruit punch? Why is it red? And finally, out of the most popular fruit punches out there, which punch is truly the fruit punchiest? When it comes to finding some sort of definition, the FDA, or Food and Drug Administration, seems like a good place to start. It's the organization responsible for defining what is or isn't a certain food. In fact, they have an entire 132-page document that outlines exactly how things need to be defined on food labels. Everything from whether something can be called healthy or fresh is clearly set in this book, but when it comes to punches, the FDA is astoundingly unhelpful. They have no definition for it at all. It doesn't even have to have fruit in it by their standards. Just calling something punch is apparently enough for them, which is ironic because it makes me want to punch them. So if we won't
Sorry,
find
I don't
any
usually
answers
look at
there,
the
then
TV
let's
too
take a look
much.
at where it all started. The exact
Or the
origins of
chat
the
too much when I'm
debate
working,
on
because
how
my
it first
eyes are
became,
needed
but the
elsewhere.
generally agreed
Oh, you're
upon
not
history for
completely
fruit
sealed.
punch
Shit.
dates back to the 17th century. And let me tell you, it is a history of pirates, nobles,
I'll get that done right now then.
which, as fun as it is to say,
Oh,
the
where is
pirate
it?
voice is like super serious and killed 2 million sailors between the 16th and 18th century. Basically, it's a severe lack of vitamin C, and without that, your body can't do any of the
Where's
things
the
it
bag?
used to.
What the
Back on the 17th back then, it
Right
was
next
hard
to
to
me.
make sure sailors got enough vitamin C. Heck, it was hard enough to make sure they had enough water, since that could easily spoil on the
Nope.
ships. Instead, sailors were given
Oh,
beer,
no.
since the alcohol could kill off some dangerous bacteria, but even that didn't do well in the blistering heat. Enter punch. In the 17th century, sailors for the British East India Company, the
I haven't gone
largest
10
trading
feet. Where was
organization,
the bag of
first
stuff?
came across the drink known as punch. That's right, punch, the Sanskrit word for 5. It stood for the 5 components of the drink:
Oh,
alcohol,
here it is.
water, sugar, citrus, and spice. Suddenly, the sailors had all of their problems solved
There we
with
go.
just one drink. The alcohol stopped harmful things from the water kept them hydrated and diluted the alcohol. The sugar and citrus made sure they got enough vitamins to not get scurvy, and the spices provided other nutrients and rounded off the flavor. The ingredients were easy to get, since they just throw in whatever local fruits and spices they could find. They could also mix it and make huge amounts, so just a few bottles of rum could be stretched to quench the thirst of the entire crew for an extended period of time. It was a literal lifesaver. So naturally, the sailors took this drink with them and brought it back to Europe, where it blew up, and over time, punch turned to punch as it was picked up by the locals. From there, it evolved into a communal drink that hosts could give to their guests to show off their wealth and power. While punches for sailors were usually made with local fruits, usually tropical ones, the rich folk would throw in oranges, raspberries, champagne, and pineapples, which were famously expensive way back when. Unfortunately, there was never a set recipe for fruit punch. It really was just whatever people wanted to throw in. And eventually, the drink
Now
was
it's fully
popular
sealed.
when people stopped having the luxury of sitting around drinking from a communal bowl. And even more so when alcohol started getting banned in countries around the world at the turn of the 20th century. It wasn't until a group of guys from California decided they wanted to harken back to the tropical flavors of yesteryear. Now, when it comes to fruit punch, you may think of some of the other popular brands, like Hi-C, Minute Maid, or Kool-Aid. But Hi-C and Minute Maid didn't introduce their punch flavors until the 40s. And Kool-Aid was way late to the game with their punch, which didn't come out until 69. Nice. So that leaves us with Hawaiian Punch, which didn't even sell a drink originally. That's right, the original modern fruit punch was a syrup to pour on top of your ice cream. It wasn't until customers started mixing it with water that they realized it made a good drink. Hawaiian Punch realized they were sitting on a gold mine and started selling the drink themselves. Honestly though, kudos to HP for the pivot. Definitely saved them in the long run. Now, finally, with Hawaiian Punch's version of the flavor, we've got a definitive mashup of fruits. The owners chose them in the spirit of ye olde punches of yore and imported fruits from Hawaii for that tropical feel. So what we have is orange, pineapple, passion fruit, guava, and, well, they use papaya, but we couldn't find any, so we're substituting it for mango, which is a similar taste and tropical feel. Just by looking at the flavors, I found it hard to believe that this combination would get anywhere near what I'm used to. And also, I noticed something else. One thing to notice right off the top is that all of these are different shades of yellow and or orange. If you know anything about mixing colors, this doesn't make red. But we are just gonna mix them up together and see if at least the flavors will give us that fruit punch tanginess and sweetness that we're all used to. So let's get started. I was still half expecting that as I started to mix them, they would magically turn the color of a Viking battlefield, but no, maybe this will brighten it up. It didn't. The only shred of hope left was that it would taste anything like fruit punch. And you know what? We were off to a strong start. Actually, wow. That is weirdly exactly what I picture fruit punch to be. Granted, it was actually a bit acidity and leaned a little sweeter than the fruit punch we're used to. This is a good foundation to build off of because from
And okay.
characteristics of fruit punch that we're looking for. The next step was obviously to test the modern day version of
There you
brands
go.
have, not before showing off my mad skills in punching the straw through the pouches. Hey-ya! Oh!
Milestone.
Perfect.
The yellow one never got
Yep, mad
finished.
skills
All right.
with the Z.
And you.
You only get one
And-
shot.
Are you good? I think so. Okay, what color should I paint
Hold on,
the
only get 2 shots.
this?
3 tries.
Oh, yellow will look good, but I don't think it would cover well enough.
No, 7.
Let me
Yep,
try
8,
this
9,
one.
10. No, 11.
Cream coat.
12.
Sometime it'll work.
It's a lot harder than it looks, okay? It's like hitting the subscribe button. You don't have to carefully line it and click right in the center. It has to be in one swift motion. From the play button to subscribe to like, no one can do that in one try. Unless they're superhuman and awesome, in which case they'd have to comment below that they did all of that so we could admire their accomplishment. But anyway, once I actually got to tasting, one thing became very apparent. These were 90% sugar and 10% lies. High C's Torrential Tropical Punch claims to be a pineapple and orange blend with nothing else specified in the ingredients. And, I mean, I'm gonna try it, but in no world is this only orange and pineapple. Yeah, no. And going through the line of the drinks, it was more and more obvious their packaging was bold. If there was any hope of figuring out what the flavor of fruit punch was, it wasn't gonna be with these sugar-filled pouches. I mean, these barely have actual fruit juice in them to begin with. No, to get to the bottom of this, we had to take these packages literally and mix our own real fruit juice versions of each of these iconic fruit punches. For this, we took the fruits that were clearly listed on the back of the boxes and the ones they'd splashed onto their packaging to attract the little sugar fiends in the supermarkets. And as we got to preparing these, there was a common factor among all of them that stuck out to me. Pineapple and orange were in every single one. Either one or both of them, without fail, was listed in the ingredients or on the box. Well, except for Kool-Aid. Seriously, the Kool-Aid man may punch through walls, but the drink itself will punch holes in every single one of your teeth. Finally, though, we're onto something. Something that actually dates back to the very beginning of punch. See, oranges and pineapples are extremely common in India. In fact, India is the 5th largest producer of pineapples and the 3rd largest producer of oranges in the world. So it makes sense that the British soldiers
Isn't this
in the area
fun?
would have liked
Oh,
to
actually,
use
fucking
these
red would be
fruits for
good.
the original punches they were making.
Eh,
But if making
for the next
real
one.
fruit High C taught us anything, it's that those two are not the only thing that makes fruit punch. Let's see what High C is supposed to taste like.
Skip the pricey produce aisles and start growing your own veggies at home with Miracle Grow Organics. 100% organic ingredients for 100%
I finally finished the
organic
garden
food.
today.
Miracle Grow Organics.
I got the
No
ground
matter
cherries
where you
in,
grow.
and I got the potatoes in. And that
This
took all day,
torrential
and I'm
tropical
exhausted.
punch was a torrential nightmare for my taste buds. The flavor profile was way off, especially when comparing it to the original fruit punch flavors. Clearly, we needed to find that final component, and what better brand to find that in than the modern day Hawaiian punch? There's overlap, but I really think that the apple and the pear mess with the whole thing. Because this gives you a much more pleasant and complete flavor profile. This starts to veer too much to one side or the other. It's very close to the original with it being like very far away from it at the same time. Like I can tell that there are similar flavors there. It was almost there, but because it had so many different fruits, the most out of all of the ones we tried, it just became too sweet. A big departure from their original recipe. Minute Maid tasted almost exactly like their packaged drink, but once again, it was a bit too mellow and sweet. Kool-Aid just kept bringing on the disappointment. Oh, that'll put some hair on your chest. I knew, looking at the box of Kool-Aid, which showed both lemon and lime, that there was no way this real fruit version would taste anything like fruit punch. I had no idea that it would taste that sour or bitter, though. But it did give us an important lesson. That final component we were searching for was something totally different from what the orange and pineapple provide. Something we found in the Capri Sun. Huh. Okay, I think it really is the cherry.
Really? I see no
That
green
is
pepper.
Astoundingly similar.
Or red pepper.
What finally brought it home was the tartness of the cherry. It brought in some sweetness, but it balanced out the sourness and bitterness that came from the citrus in the orange and pineapple. So for the modern day fruit punch red flavor we all love, if you're looking to get it with real fruit and actual juice, it all comes down to pineapple, orange, and finally cherry, which also gives us that wonderful coagulated blood red color we all grew up with. As far as which one is the punchiest, well, we have to define the exact criteria for what we're looking for. Obviously, it's not just which one has the most fruit in their drink. That trophy goes to Hawaiian Punch, the overachieving sellout. Went from 5 fruits to dang near 15. No, what we're looking for is the one that brings the flavor profile that takes 3 components to the max. Sweet, sour, tangy. The hallmarks of a true fruit punch. And I couldn't just do this alone, so I had to bring on Jason to help out. Lend me your tongue.
I'll have you know, I've heard that phrase a lot. I need your tongue. Jason, lend me your tongue. It's not the first time I've heard it.
Because he is a master with the words. He has that silver tongue. Get out of the gutter. Let's move on to High C. Let's get some ASMR in there. That was horrible even next to it. Oh, that was so bad. Oh, God.
If there's too much citrus in this one still, it's not balanced out like this.
But there's not enough of the complete flavor profile that fruit punch is supposed to give you. So, next up, Capri Sun. There's no dash in the word. And it's all one word.
Caprese? All one word.
Is your name Jason? Jason Derulo Parker did make me curious, so I went and did some research to prove him wrong. Or at least prove that I haven't been saying it
I do
wrong
like the
my entire
yellow
life.
with the
And before I
purple.
drop this bomb, definitely make sure to let me know how you say it in the comments below. But turns out, the name comes from the island of Capri, where many Germans vacation. So the German company that created the drink named it after the island to get people to buy it. Listen, I'm mature enough to admit when I'm wrong, but the Italian pronunciation is technically Capri, not Capri. So, name pronunciations aside, the drink did provide Jason and I something to agree on.
Yeah, that is much more like what I expect when I hear the term fruit punch.
It has the acidity, the sweetness, the tang, it's right there. Honestly, it was pretty cut and dry. The competition was not fierce, especially with Kool-Aid following it up. Yeah, temper your expectations. Oh no! That is so sour.
Oddly enough, even though this brings in like more fruit than just the citrus, this one still tastes very similar to the High C.
Oh, let me see. Huh.
Right?
Yeah. Oh wow. They are strikingly similar. And where those two had way too much citrus, Hawaiian Punch, like we established, had the opposite problem. The only one that came close to Capri Sun was, surprisingly, Minute Maid. And although it came off a bit too mellow, to its credit, it was the only brand where the packaged drink tasted almost the same as the real fruit mixture.
Oh, this tastes very similar.
Yeah.
I think you put water in this?
No.
I know you didn't put water in it. I've been behind the camera the entire episode.
I was like, you saw me. When did I put water? Stop accusing.
I'm saying if you put water in this,
Okay.
I think you will get this exact same.
Yeah. As far as like what's on the package, Minute Maid, thumbs up. As far as fruit punch though,
As the original, there's not enough citrus in this. Like,
No.
that's exactly what it is.
so with all 5, 6, and G flavor mix tested, we had a clear winner. Of these 5,
This one.
I think we can safely give the crown of the fruitiest and punchiest to Capri Sun. Capri Sun, Capri Sun, whatever. You know what? Whatever you want to call it, because you do you. But
I'm about to prove it even more. You want to know why?
Why?
I think your favorite flavor is yellowish orange.
How so?
You're gonna open these, and it's either gonna be clear or it's gonna be more in the orangish family.
But it's red! Okay, alright, you know what? Give me cups. We are going to figure this out right now. Jason and I may have our differences for Capri Sun, but there is no way that this is even a debate, right? I mean, of course they're red. It's fruit punch. As to why that is, well, we tend to associate the color red with sweetness and ripeness thanks to thousands of years of humans collectively gathering up red fruits and berries. It's so deeply entrenched in us that we just expect anything with fruit in it to be red. Obviously, companies have since then made sure to make that connection even stronger by marketing anything fruit punch as red. So there's no way that Jason is right. That's why this right here is going to be red. What? Is everything a lie? There's no way that Capri Sun betrays me, right? Okay, hold on. There are pinkish tones.
I will give you pink. Or like peach. It's like a peach color.
It's pinkish, which is a cousin of red. Ah, no! My Lumen shirt and jacket, which you can find on lumenofficial.com. I'm gonna have to order more.
You just wash your clothes. You don't throw clothes away after they get dirty.
Wait, you don't?
No.
Ah, man, I've been doing it wrong all these years. I could have been saving so much more money by going to lumenofficial.com and getting these pieces of apparel. So,
What color is that?
what? What? All my life has been a total lie. Fruit punch is glorified orange, pineapple, and cherry juice, and it's not even red? Nothing makes sense anymore. But there you have it. If fruit punch is what you're looking for, then that flavor is none other than cherry, pineapple, and orange. From there, you can add whatever you want. It doesn't even have to be juice. Throw a rock in there. Why not? Nothing matters because fruit punch doesn't even have to be red. My whole world upside down. Now I have to go rethink everything that I've ever known and loved. What have we learned? Fruit punch is honestly whatever you want it to be. As far as punchiness, it cannot just be citrus, but it can honestly be a little bit of everything. Does it have to be red? Absolutely not. And now I'm second guessing everything I've ever known. That's just a theory. A food theory. Don't have it. And if you like this video and want to see how blue raspberries lie, make sure to click the link on the screen now to go watch that video. And as always, I'll see you next week.
Here, at Jameson Vitamins, pretty much all we ever talk about is quality.
But it's more than just talk.
By testing all our sourced ingredients right down to their DNA.
We won't be fooled, and neither will you.
I mean, the standards say that tap water is fine.
But we want to start with the pure stuff, so we make our own.
And speaking of tests,
We conduct more than 360 tests for product purity and potency.
Long before the bottle makes it to the store.
Jameson Vitamins, a proudly Canadian company since 1922.
Introducing the crossroads of power and efficiency. The new 2025 Civic Hybrid. Redefine your drive.
There.
The soda fountain. It is the pinnacle of human engineering. It's a symbol of absolute freedom. This singular device, you have a buffet of flavors, all waiting for you and you alone. And while most will just use it for their daily story or a quick hit of Mr. Pibb, there are those out there who dare to go beyond, to think outside the tap. Those who question the one soda system and instead run down the line without a care in the world, blurring the line between Sprite and Sunkist, having fun with Fanta, throwing in a pop of Powerade or a blast of Brisk. And so today, I salute you, the soda jerks out there, the caffeine cravers who dare to raise a glass to every dispenser in this thing. May your drinks be sweet and your refills be free. Today, my friends, we're testing what it takes to create the perfect soda blend. And let me tell you, it is nothing like any soda you've ever tasted before. Hello, Internet! Welcome to Food Theory, the show that's the perfect blend of everything you need. Now, it's been no secret in my time online that I'm a fan of Diet Coke. And by fan, I mean I'm a hopeless addict to that sweet, sweet battery acid pouring down my throat.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much for being a part of my life.
I appreciate you too, Matthew.
Thank you,
I know you're
Jacob.
addicted to me.
To this day, one of my all-time favorite memories was being at a gaming convention
I
panel.
like that a
on
little
Lightyear,
better, but still not a
Game Theory, and all of a
lot.
sudden the audience just lines up with this huge string of Diet Cokes right in front of me. I think I had like 50 by the time the whole thing was said and done. But you know what actually goes back further than my love of Diet Coke? Yeah,
I want to
we're
do
talking about deep
this
in
one
that bubble.
next.
It's actually my love of mixing all the stuff. Yeah, let's call it what you want.
Finish this one up
Hurricane,
and seal
tornado,
that.
graveyard drink,
Oh, thank you for the
hot
thumbs
bombs,
up, guys. I really appreciate it tonight.
a suicide, an unaliving yourself drink, I guess. Whatever the name, I think it's a universal experience. Walking up to the soda fountain and just flying down the line. Going ham as you mix as many flavors together as possible.
I don't know where
Most unique, most delicious,
the bag
most
of
disgusting
is,
drink imaginable.
so I'll just
That right there,
steal
that
from
was
this
my
at the
first
moment.
true
Oh, I
soda.
found it!
Hanging out at the old Taco Bell in Medina, Ohio with my dad. Each of us mixing drinks
know
and
if I want to just steal from this or not.
identify the flavors that we put
This
in.
is already sealed, so
The reason I wanted to
yeah,
do
I'm
an
gonna
entire
use this
episode
instead.
dedicated to them is that there's nearly an
I can always do it
infinite
again.
number of options in making one of these soda concoctions. Over years of doing this, I fine-tuned my preferred blend to a science. But just because it's my favorite, it's not necessarily the best. So that's what we're aiming to do today.
Glue.
We're looking at the science of technology to see if we can optimize the perfect soda blend. Mixing the most flavors together to create the most delicious beverage possible. Are there certain flavors that blend together better than others? What other considerations play into a drink like this? And let me just say it now, let us know down in the comments what your favorite mix is, because everyone has their own, and I'd love to try them. That said, what we wind up concocting today, it's certainly something that you should try at home. Also, and can I just call this out? I love the fact that I got done with a 30-day no sugar challenge and just immediately pivoted into this episode. It's like I gotta make up for lost time or something. Anyway, to help me on my quest today, I've got former bartender Santi on the couch joining me to run through a gauntlet of different swamp water variations so we can determine what elements, proportions, and
jeez.
methods deliver
Fill this
the
up with
best
glue with the
results.
notes so you haven't finished scratching off the extra paint.
Perfect beverage in real time. Now, I've given Santi a lot of flack in the past for being a
I can
super
probably do
healthy
this
kind of dude,
after.
but this episode showed me a completely different side to him.
So, okay, everyone at home knows my vice, which is Diet Coke, right? Are you a soda
There
drinker?
we go.
What is your go-to beverage?
I am a regular Coke drinker to the point that it was a problem. I had a friend stay with me one time for like a week, and we went to the supermarket beginning of the week, and I got a 12-pack of Coke, and I had to go back to the supermarket like twice in that week. And he like, and I didn't realize it, right? And he sits me down at the end of the week. He's like, "Hey man, I think you have a problem."
Oh, no, it's an intervention.
Yeah, no, it's an intervention. He even texted my wife like, "Hey, I'm gonna have to talk to him about it." And so since that day, I've been drinking Coke Zero.
Okay.
So like,
So much better.
right?
So much better.
Now, for those of you not familiar with the glory that is swamp water, the true origin of stuff is a bit difficult to pin down. Soda fountains have been around since the 1800s, and it's not hard to imagine people trying to mix everything together from day one. That said, the swamp water references really seem to start appearing in writing around the 1950s. A newspaper in Paris, Texas first described kids going down to the local diner asking for the stuff. That's right, a newspaper reported a story about a bunch of kids wanted to mix their sodas together. Ah, can you imagine the days when that made headlines? In any case, we can definitely track the rise of swamp water with the rise of youth culture in America. Makes sense. You think about the 50s and you can see the young rascals riding their bikes to their local diner like something out of a Coca-Cola commercial. In the decades since, the drink has evolved with the technological advances of the soda machine. More sodas and more flavors just mean more possibilities. With the advent of the Coke Freestyle machine, we're no longer limited to just 8 or even 10 options. We have all the options now. It's
Come on,
a
get
bit
in there.
overwhelming. It also feels a bit like cheating to make swamp water out of those things. So instead, today we're just going to be sticking to ye oldie soda fountains of yore with the different spigots. Bringing us to round one of our journey, the basic blends. Unlike taste tests that we've done in the past on this channel to determine winning and losing drinks, this time Santi and I are really just testing some initial basic mixes to see what works and what doesn't when it comes to hurricane drinks. That way we'll learn stuff like what flavors complement each other, things like that. And then we'll be able to apply those
A little bit
rules
more,
to
I
create
think.
our own perfect picture of Pop Bomb.
Take me through what we have lined up in front of us today and what we're going to be doing.
Right, so here in round one, we have 4 combinations approved by Burger King himself, the king himself.
I like that Burger King is the purveyor of soda mixes in this case, right? Because yeah, we all trust Burger King, you know, that restaurant that we labeled as like the unhealthiest fast food in the previous episode, which you can click on the screen right now to go check out if you haven't yet.
But we don't have their food, so their drinks, you gotta
Drinks
trust
are
them.
fine.
You gotta trust them.
Food is hard pass.
So with these pre-approved swamp water suggestions by the king himself, we have the half and half, which is half Diet Coke, half regular Coke. There's the black and white, which is half Diet Coke, half Sprite. The 4-way, which is equal parts.
Oh, I remember this episode now.
Sprite and Dr. Pepper. Then lastly, the black gold, which is 1 part Coke, 3 parts Dr. Pepper. And immediately, right off the bat, that simple half and half, it was a big win.
It's a 50-50 mix, and it feels exactly that. Like, I get a little bit of the heaviness, where you have that little bit of sweetness that sticks on your tongue, but it's not as heavy and all-encompassing on my tongue as I normally feel Coke is, with a little bit of the lightness and the more watered downness that I tend to get out of Diet Coke.
Absolutely, and I think there's a fruitiness to
A
Diet
bit more
Coke
wild, I
that
think.
Coke doesn't
Yeah.
have. And what's interesting about this one, and the reason
There.
it may seem simple, but the reason that we
I like
include
that.
it is because, according to the colonists, regular sugar actually nullifies or counteracts the taste and sweetness of aspartame and sucralose. So I'm actually really enjoying
No,
this.
I would say, actually, I like this one a lot.
The interesting thing about this
What
first
do you think?
mixture is that the body processes the sugar in Coke and the artificial sweetener aspartame in Diet Coke in completely different
It
ways.
came out all right.
Aspartame is 200 times sweeter than normal sugar, and it interacts directly with
There
the
we
sweet
go.
taste receptors
All
in
right.
Coke, whereas sugar undergoes an enzymatic
Now I need to
breakdown
make some
route, releasing
space.
glucose and fructose first, and then activating the sweet taste receptors. This is actually why people who taste regular sugar tend to report it having a more complex, well-rounded, complete flavor. Meanwhile, aspartame is so much sweeter that it gives many people what they report to be a sharp sweetness. Mixing the two actually balances out the initial sweet burst from the aspartame and then lets the vanilla and caramel notes from the regular Coke really
put you
come
up in
forward
the
in the
sun
back
to
end.
dry.
So already we were off to a strong
Oh, no.
start. We were really looking forward to keeping
Right on there.
with the next one, the black and white.
Okay, so yeah, just to clarify, so you're doing Coke and Sprite,
Yes.
and I'm doing Diet Coke and Sprite.
Exactly.
But if you want a sample,
Yeah. We shared it. We bonded enough on this.
you don't have a bottle.
Now, I feel fine.
Oh, that's just Coke. That's
No, yeah.
no big deal.
Wow. Those two.
No,
No.
this is not great.
No.
This is the opposite. It's just dissonant. You get the lemon liminess of it, but you also have Coke that's mixed in there in not an insubstantial way. And it's a bunch of competing flavors that don't meld together or organize.
In the
It really
box.
is oil and water.
Unlike
In the box. It's gonna be in the box.
just a dissonant flavor combination. And adding Dr. Pepper in the mix wasn't really helping things either.
It smells very Dr. Pepper.
It does.
It tastes very Dr. Pepper.
Yeah.
Yep, it's all Dr. Pepper. This validates what I experienced when I was doing this as a kid growing up in Ohio. Anytime I would throw in a Dr. Pepper, I would have to do like a splash of it. It would just be like a little bit to finish off the top, but it couldn't be a substantial amount of it because it just swallows up any other flavor that is mixed with.
The Ferrero Rocher chocolate bar. Crunchy hazelnuts, smooth chocolate, creamy
Oh,
filling.
we gotta turn you on.
Make any moment
There we
worth
go.
celebrating.
Oopsie.
Ferrero Rocher.
Oh, right here.
Save your money on cheap dirt with the Miracle Grow. Packed with essential nutrients to grow
But cheap
strong.
dirt's what I buy.
Miracle Grow garden soil is your secret sauce for a healthy, beautiful garden. Miracle Grow. No better way to grow.
Damn it, I can't believe I
Dr.
broke that.
Pepper is one of those sodas that people either love or hate. Very often it's very
I'm not a Dr. Pepper fan.
Dr. Pepper themselves and the FDA both rule that it's neither. Instead, Dr. Pepper falls into the category of pepper sodas. With its unique blend of 23 natural and artificial flavors and a mostly cherry-like flavor.
Cherry?
It's so secret that it doesn't even exist in one singular place. Apparently it's been split in half and kept at 2 separate safety deposit boxes at separate banks in Dallas, Texas. The doctor, he's around, but I gotta say, after finding this out, that tells me that this is gonna show up as a food theory down the line.
So we have the black gold. So this is the exact opposite of what you were saying. This is 3 parts Dr. Pepper and only 1 part Coke.
Oh.
Diet Coke.
So you're just listening to Dr. Pepper at this point.
I mean, honestly, yeah, I don't know why Burger King would prove this black gold. Yeah.
Fair enough. I mean, it smells like Dr. Pepper. And it tastes like Dr. Pepper. It tastes
Because this,
Oh, wow.
yeah. Oh, there's a big difference.
Wow.
Yeah.
That one still tastes a lot like Dr. Pepper, but a much more mellower version.
Absolutely. It's so much. It's too sweet. Like, I wouldn't be able to drink that entire thing.
No. What we're seeing here is the exact same winning combination from the first mix. The aspartame from the Diet Coke is mellowing out the flavor profile of the sugary sweet Dr. Pepper. Contrast that to Santi's mix of Dr. Pepper plus regular Coke, and you have yourself just an elevated sugar content, hence why you perceive it as cloyingly sweet. Regardless, that is immediately clear that the real Dr. Pepper was going to go a long way in these mixes, and anything more than just a splash or two was going to overwhelm the entire drink. So the big takeaway was to
I had to
take
be careful.
alternative soda
I'm covered
flavors
in
like
paint.
Mr. Below. He said to create the perfect unliving beverage formulation, we need to build off a milder cola flavor as our base. Now, as if this wasn't comprehensive enough, we decided to include a fifth option, which included equal parts of all the different flavors that were available at the soda fountain at our local gas station.
I just had a bath.
Without even
Look at me now.
just from the smell alone, you can immediately hit a lot of orange, even though it's all equal. Anything with Dr. Pepper wonderful. Yeah.
I don't know if this face
Tastes like a
is big enough. They're my biggest faces.
It's just really, I think that freezes just Fanta. Pour me a glass of Fanta. So to me, I taste
Which
this
one do you think?
And it feels almost more creasy, where I'm getting the orange.
This one's a smaller face.
But at the edges of
If
it,
you can tell.
that pink vanilla flavor of like the
See how much smaller?
That's one
It
thing I
does
always
make a
had
difference.
about like orange
Maybe
soda.
not you. Let's put you aside for a minute.
My favorite.
What else can we fight with?
Huh, interesting. Try this.
Hello.
Ooh, that is
You did a face. I have faces to give.
that's a reference. Yeah, it is. Great, no, it's a great reference.
No. I'll find a home for you.
Right, okay.
I'll find your
I did
body.
it before. There is a lot more vanilla than
I like the concept of it. I don't know if I like the execution.
I mean, this is my life.
In short, what we were learning was that with the
Actually,
right
it's
mix,
good.
the
I like
addition
the
of
colors on
Coke
this.
was less about the cola flavor and more about the undertones of vanilla. And again, just like with Dr. Pepper,
Oh, I like the red.
flavors like orange soda really cut through the noise to dominate the
I
overall
think I'm
taste.
gonna do red, and I'll put a big red bow.
Practically ready for round two. But before
Okay.
we moved on, there was one
You
last
have a
thing.
face.
Pepsi. Lest I be called a Coke fanboy, we wanted to give Pepsi products their fair shake, especially because I grew up running this test with Pepsi fountains at the local Taco Bell. And that meant one thing, and one thing only, the addition of Baja Blast. Now, there's good news and bad news with this one. Bad news,
Oh, wait.
Baja Blast has been for the past 20
Didn't I
years
want
a
this
Taco
one?
Bell exclusive. The good news, though, is that for the 20th anniversary
not
of
big
this
enough.
year, they decided to release it in stores. So, there wasn't really any bad news there at all. In short, it means that we were able to create the ultimate mix of Pepsi flavors that you could get from the fountain. And it was...
Pepsi throws an entirely new angle into this because Pepsi products, for as much as their competitors to Coke, are vastly different.
Oh, insanely so.
Yeah, like to me,
I think I'm gonna have to build some gears or something for the belly.
Diet Pepsi, and I prefer the
'Cause
flavor of Diet Coke.
I had to cut something
I can
off.
see that. Yeah, Diet Pepsi tastes off to me.
Yeah, it feels synthetic, or it feels like a diet soda. Yeah, it feels artificial in a way that Diet Coke doesn't. Even though all of this is literally just taking battery acid. My gut biome is dying as we speak. The flora and fauna that exists today.
Now I want the jackalopes.
is slowly
Blue's
feeling
good.
over and dying. It had a month of sugar-free living without sodas. It's like, yay, it's gonna be healthy again for 2024. And it's like, nope, we still got episodes of Food Theory to do. Just die.
I'm gonna go with the blue because that's what I have more of.
See, Matt, no, it gets strong. It's tempered in raw sewage. That is my stomach. This is nothing.
Ah, famous last words.
Yeah, this smells terrible. Unlike all the other ones, they're like, oh, this smells like a little bit caramely, or a little bit vanilla, like Dr. Pepper. No, this smells terrible.
Oh God,
Not hot
that
enough
is
yet?
not good.
Nope. Let me get it.
Wow.
Get there though. Don't hold it there, dumbass. Okay.
Oh, that is disgusting.
Not good.
Oh, this is wild.
Hello,
Oh,
titties.
vastly different.
I'm a cow.
Vastly inferior.
This is the same as the whatchamacallit, so he might not work.
Market ended up with a surprising mixture of bitterness and sourness. There was really nothing redeeming about it. Turns out this boils down to the citric acid. You see, where Coke uses phosphoric acid to add acidity to their soda, Pepsi uses citric
This is
acid.
such a cute
This is
face.
what gives Pepsi the refreshing taste that they like to tout. Unfortunately, it's compounded by the citric acid in the Starry and the Sun-Kissed as well. So the end result is just
Yeah, I
sour
want this,
and bitter.
and
whereas
you're gonna get the
phosphoric
other
acid
set of
in
blue
Coke actually
horns.
helps to balance out the citric
All
acid
right.
in things like
You'll
Sprite
put that.
and Fanta, delivering an overall more enjoyable experience. Needless to say, we decided to scrap most of our Pepsi products before moving forward. With round one over, it was time to look at specialized mixes in round two. We narrowed down the field from 6 different drinks to 3, each a different person's preferred method of swamp water. First up was a mixologist's advanced method that Santi found in his research, which took a wide
I love
range
the
of
little
flavors, but
spindly
really
legs.
emphasized the order in which the drinks were poured. This seems
This
like it would
sounds
make no
disturbing.
difference at
How
all,
about
since
that?
it all mixes together
Might be
anyway.
too big.
Behind
Yeah.
this, to have more sugar
Looks
dense
good, but it
sodas
is, at the end of the day,
lower
too big.
lighter sugar sodas sit at the top. Why would you
Yeah,
also
well.
want to do that? Well, supposedly it causes different flavors to hit your tongue in a specific order, leading to an overall more complex profile that evolves as you drink. That's something that we've actually seen happen on this channel before, in one of my all-time favorite episodes. In fact, the burger stacking episode, where we discovered that the exact same ingredients put in a different order gave you a completely different taste experience. So, if it worked for the burgers, maybe it could also work for soda. Also, from this point forward, let's play a little game, shall we? In our effort to be soda sommeliers,
There we go.
ripping off the classic
Well, thank you for the thumbs up, guys. I really appreciate it.
swamp water, then take a sip anytime we say the word forward. See how many gallons of soda you make it through. Also, let us know in the comments how many times we said it, because I'm going to keep track. Ready, go.
I mean, it's a
No, you're gonna go here. I'll make you work.
Very fruit forward beverage, as opposed to all the ones that we had in round one, which tend to be much more.
I have to deflate the face,
It is a very
so it's more
pleasant
flat.
fruit punch. I understand why someone at a bar and who works as a mixologist would find a lot of success with this. If
I
I'm
like
going
that.
for a graveyard drink, unaliving myself beverage, whatever, I'm looking for more of a cola forward one. This isn't hitting that, but it's a very good version of a very different type of drink.
Already you could tell that there was a more sophisticated, complex flavor profile in this drink. This was the first time that we were really getting hit with different notes at different times, even if they were mostly fruit-based. In short, the layering technique actually worked. Despite being equal parts of different drinks, the Coke at the top really made a tendency to the heavier drinks that hit our palate first.
It's perspective, because like I said, my
This is one of the
beverages, whenever I do this,
vintage
always
ones.
had a very specific kind of flavor profile to them, and I would just
Not
kind of
vintage,
try
but
things
old.
here and there to kind of try to optimize it.
I wonder what I
would try
had
things
on
like
you.
more of the
Probably a
colas,
hat.
the caramels, the vanillas,
Before I
not the
took it off.
This is a very good version that like bats on fruit. That's cool.
Right, which makes sense, right? Mixologists, just like chefs or anything, they're trying to give you the whole package in what you consume. It's really light, it's really refreshing, and cover your ears, kids. It kind of tastes like a Long Island iced tea.
Cover your ears.
Yeah, earmuffs.
Clearly, Santi became real familiar with all different types of drinks in his research for this episode.
So where'd you find this? When you say mixologist, right, did you just go to a bar and like, hey, what do you do? Like, did you find this online, or what is this?
Yes, I did a lot of research by going to a variety of bars and just asking them to make me drinks. No, I'm kidding. We actually
It was a rough week of research. He wasn't responding to emails. He found him in the gutter somewhere. Like, I got it. I got the perfect mix.
Honestly, you gotta admire the commitment to the craft. But now, with a new variable at play, it was time to
There we
taste
go.
mine. Personal
Release.
In general, I tend to like my unaliving beverages doing more.
These older ones are packed very tight with very dense stuffing, so
Bottom, 2/3 with an even mix of
it's almost like
the top third
quilt
is
batting
with just a
that was shredded
root beer and Dr.
or ripped
Pepper
up and used because it's
again,
very
from overpowering everything
dense.
else. Gotta say, I am tremendously proud of this mixture. I've been drinking it for literal decades, but never really served
I
it
like
to anyone
that.
else. Felt like I was
Make it
standing
work.
up naked in front of the class.
Can't wait to judge you.
I know, right? I'm actually very nervous. I've never had anyone else ever sampled this.
Introducing Full Black Active. New styles, new colors, new stretch, new feel. Old Navy, no moves. Bloating, discomfort, Activia might help with that. But it supports your digestive health. Has a billion active probiotics and nutrients for you every day. It starts inside Activia.
there we go. Are you heating
I
up?
can judge
You're getting there.
myself, obviously, but,
Alright,
you know,
this
I
one's
blame
gonna go
myself
with this
for
one.
eating something.
Does it take the bird face?
Because
No.
I think Dr. Pepper, I'm going to hate it, guys. Because it's really mellowed it out. And I'm getting the sweetness of Coke, but that's it. It's very Coke forward.
Agree to disagree there, Santi. Maybe your palate just isn't refined enough.
The one thing I will say, to my credit, just to defend myself, I actually get the vanilla notes more out of this than I do in any of the other ones so far.
I will agree with that. Absolutely.
As a guy who's always loved the flavor of vanilla, one thing I never realized was that my preferred mix here really highlights those notes from the Coke and the root beer. By using Diet Coke as a key part of the base, it negated the sugar that was coming in from the regular Coke and Mr. Pibb. This then allows the more complex flavors of vanilla and caramel to take center stage.
I like that it hits different notes at different times. Like it's vanilla forward, you get a little bit of the root beer in the back.
Alright,
And then
see what we can do with you.
Middle is just the like tiniest hint of the Sprite around
We
it.
need to get
This
some.
one hits you, and that's it. It's a very good flavor, very cohesive, but once you taste it, that's it. Goes down, nothing. Here is what you're saying. There are those
Stain.
ways. For me,
You
I
washed,
wanted to
you
avoid
washed you
there.
so good.
A little bit, but
With some duct tape, I think. Get the last of the fluffies out. Okay, oh, there you go.
That said, while we disagreed about the overall flavor, we did
Thought the red would work a little bit better with it.
Is huge difference.
It does.
Layering does work. And 3, Coke
Too
and Cola
big.
flavors add more overall complexity for a more
Oh my
enjoyable
goodness.
experience.
Why am I putting this here when it should be in
The
here?
rivalry between the two continues. Hey, if you want to see some of the weird history behind these two, make sure you check out our Soda Pop Conspiracy playlist after you're done here. We've done a lot of episodes about both of these products and also how they don't get on all that well. But as far as swamp water goes, there was still one more that we had to test.
Could work.
I'm not the only one
Maybe.
being judged in this episode. Sam, our Michigan grandpa behind
Oh no, I think the stole us first.
Sorry. Helm defends.
No. This pink one's gonna get this old, dusty red bear.
And I also was a fiend for the fizz. Yeah. Right? The fizzler, if you will.
This is a more modern bear because the stuffing isn't as terry, soft. Ooh. Not as soft as a Squishmallow, but still quite soft.
And so I had to invert my form because the Mountain Dew is so much sweeter to me than a traditional Sprite. And the High C Fruit Punch was a lot more mellow.
To say High C Fruit Punch is mellow is one of the most insane things I've ever heard anyone utter.
So this is now 1 cup Sprite, 1/8 cup plus 1/16 cup of Mountain Dew.
Hold up! Did you not add your fraction?
I was a film major.
Oh no!
If you would never ask the Da Vinci what fraction of blue is in this painting.
For those of you who might not be aware, this is the man that studies our analytics on a regular basis, delivering a monthly report of our numbers. Guess I'll be double checking those from now on. In any case, the Sam Special was a very tasty drink, but as far as the assignment went, it was just 2 ingredients, so it wasn't really
Grumpy.
for what we were going through in swamp water. That said, it did give us more insight.
But this is weird. Weird is great. I'm gonna go with this one. Thank you for the thumbs up, guys.
When it comes to Schlorps, I don't know, I'm gonna make up names now.
Instead of swamp water, we should call it Shrek water. Shrek water.
Twack water. I need to put something on them stairs today.
Yeah, sugar definitely started to hit us at this point, which meant that it was finally time to take everything that we'd learned.
There we go. Oh, there's too much meat.
Mixture. So I can tell already that there's going to be some comments down below about the fact that we had to use bottled sodas to make our
There we go.
water. Obviously, plastic bottles, as we've established in previous episodes, are the inferior way of drinking soda. But just by the nature of this challenge, we couldn't take all our camera equipment into a McDonald's or Taco Bell to do these tests on the spot. So in order to maintain a
Pizza Hut
quality
and Taco
coordination
Bell.
and flavor for all the sodas across the board, we decided to stick to the standardized bottle for the experiment. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. You will still be mad at me.
And I'm just kind of like, what is your strategy going into this? What's your aim?
My gears have been turning here because I'm trying to remember everything that we've learned over the past 2 rounds. You know, obviously we have Ice Speed. We can just universally agree Ice made everything a lot better. I think from a base standpoint, I have mostly cola or dark sodas. I think Dr. Pepper and Coke are really going to be the core foundation of the best swamp water drink. And then in the final,
It's a little better, but no.
whatever, the rest is where the playground will happen.
In the true spirit of this challenge,
He's
the
being
more sodas that you cram into your
Time to kill him.
formulation, the better. Right? Because
Oh,
that is
the hair
the
fell
essence
down.
of this, right? Going down the line, figuring out like what combination of 3 or more sodas really gives you that.
How you guys
very
doing tonight?
Flavor that you can only get through this style of drink.
Now, Santi and I ended up going in with very similar strategies. Having learned in previous rounds that order of 4 matters, we both had to map out our flavor experiences precisely. In the end, we both kept the stronger
I think I
flavors
found
like
you.
fruity Fantas,
I think we're
spicy
gonna go
Dr.
with that
Peppers,
one.
and crunchy root beers at the bottom. As for the rest, well, that's where our proportions started to differ.
Yours is much more root beer forward than mine is. Because I've incorporated everything except for Diet Coke, Coke, and then I could probably add a bit more Sprite to it.
Cut their face off and dig out the brains.
So I think I really need to drown that out. What I'm going to do is actually start with Diet Coke and see how that interacts with everything else.
As we kept mixing and pouring and testing, we kept seeing one element come up over and over again as making the most difference.
Huh. The pour order is making a pretty substantial difference.
100%. The more I play with it, the more I'm surprised by this. It's funny because now that I've poured the Coke and Diet Coke, the root beer that was very root beer forward is now starting to fall to the back of the mouth, which I really, really like, but I think I messed up because I don't think Sprite should go at the top.
Right, you really have to plan this out. And now that I've mixed them all together like I just did, it's too dissonant. I like it.
What we learned throughout this process is that swamp water is a very delicate balancing act. Just a bit too much of one flavor or a flavor poured out of order can throw the entire thing out of balance. But right before we were starting to lose hope, Santi pulled out what he was hoping would be the trump card. A new challenger appeared, and its name was Powerade.
I'm going to throw us a curveball. Okay. Something that you don't see on every soda fountain, so we didn't include it, but you will sometimes. And that is Powerade.
And it is always blue.
And you know what? I don't think that's a mistake. I think that is a sign from the swamp water, Shrek water, graveyard drink, pop the bottom gods.
Wow,
I know, right?
like a little Dr. Seuss with those.
It's all the sugar that's coursing through my head, right?
I gotta say I was pretty skeptical. How could some flavored water be the breaker of our pop bottles? But from a scientific perspective, it made sense. When you break it down, the problem with graveyard drink is that it quickly becomes overpoweringly sweet.
colors
Sweet
on that.
cola plus sweet other cola equals just more sweetness. That's why the Diet Coke and ice wound up being so important in all these mixes. They lighten up the flavor and mellow out that sweetness. But one other way of balancing out the flavor is by mixing in something that isn't just pure sugar. The Powerade.
Alright, I need to find a body for you. It's not this blue one.
Counterbalancing the top portion of sweet and acidic Coke.
The Powerade makes a difference. It's a really big difference.
Here, sign me up. Oh, that is very Powerade forward.
It is.
In smelling it, I'm like, oh yeah, this is Powerade.
It is.
Might be
But
this
not
one.
when you taste it. It also looks mildly sweetish. Oh, gangliness. If you wanted swamp water, it looks a bit like swamp water, for sure.
Yeah.
Wow. This, to me, tastes like drinkable cotton candy with vanilla notes in it. It's kind of delicious.
It's kind of good.
I kind of love it.
Right?
It's really good. It merges really well. It's a complex flavor, which I like. And it doesn't feel like especially heavy.
Yeah, I think my final verdict on this, finish it off with Sprite, Coke, and Diet Coke.
The problem is I have a couple of these bears. They were given to me by somebody who made them. And they were in the attic, so they had to be washed. But they were made a long time ago. So I completely gutted them before washing them. And now, I must restuff. Restuff, rather. Wait, I said I had him, didn't I?
The most important lesson, though, at the end of the day, is that
I just, like, find him and put him to the side, now I've lost him forever.
Flavors, and finally, the
Shit,
temperature.
no, that wasn't him, was
With those
it?
elements at your disposal, you can go forth and find your favorite way of making your own graveyard drink, or hurricane, or unaliving yourself beverage.
So what I encourage you guys to do down in the comments below is, do you have your own equivalent of the Sam Special or the Matt Pat Mix? The Matt Pat Mix! Probably should have thought of that in round 2, but better late than never, I suppose. Maybe we could work it in the VO.
We'll work with this one. Alright.
Anyway, do you have your own version of the swamp water, the graveyard drink, the unaliving
Alright, you two, come on.
yourself
Need some room.
Let us know down in the comments below, and who knows, we might follow up in a short, or something might do a whole other episode about it. I think we've given you the tools and some rough guidelines to kind of optimize your next soda fountain order. So I think that's it for me. Now here's the sheer volume of sugar that I consumed after a month without sugar is making me go a little bit crazy. So I'm gonna go and process
Not
the
paying
sugar
attention.
coursing through my body. And as always, my friends, remember, just a theory. A food theory. Bottoms up.
And hey, if you like this video and want to check out some more of our soda-centric episodes, we're trying something new here. It's a bit of an experiment that we want you to take part in. Click the link that you see on screen
Thanks for the
now.
thumbs
It
up,
looks like a
guys.
subscribe
Appreciate
button,
it.
but it's not. Actually, it's just going to take you to the channel page, which is very neutral. Once you're there, play around. We're running an experiment. I can't tell you what it is because I don't want to affect the results. Play around.
Pardon my butt.
I'll fill you in with the numbers.
Leading gums are so your impression. We always recommend Crest Gum toothpaste for your patients.
Good. Those are matching color. I want to put the purple ones on that rabbit, so I'm going to do that.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Food Theory.
Perfect. Look, I'm already replaced.
Hey, so I am joined on the couch today for a very special episode of Food Theory. Hi.
Ollie, that's me.
This is Ollie, and Ollie had a very special question for this week's Food Theory. Ollie, do you want to tell me what the question was?
What gum lasts the longest of flavor?
So as you might already be able to tell, today's episode was a bit of a special request. You see, most people, myself son Ollie more than anything in the world. Ollie loves gum more than anything in the world. To him, it goes gum, mech suits, Gravity Falls, and then me and Steph. And so when he became old enough to understand that Mommy and Daddy ran a food experiment channel, he presented us with a very important question for his 5-year-old brain. Which gum has flavor that's gonna last the longest? He's been asking for this episode for the better part of the last year, and with me and my final stretch of videos, now felt like the perfect time to tackle it. So today, we're gonna kick some butt and chew bubblegum.
It went that way.
There's no actual butts to kick, so we're just doing the bubblegum thing.
So, Ollie, do you have any hypotheses about which one is going to last the longest?
I think it's kind of like a hocus.
Does he know what hypotheses mean?
They're most excited to try?
I think I'm most excited to try bazooka.
I'm sorry that you're going to be disappointed by that one.
Turns out he was not. As for the rest of us, yeah, it wasn't our favorite.
Oh, stop.
But I'm getting ahead of myself.
He's still a little red. He had a red jacket when I got him, and I've washed him twice, but he's still got a little bit of pink in his fur. In the right lighting, you can still see it. I don't care.
First off, we have flavor. How tasty is the gum? It's pretty self-explanatory. Next, we have texture. This is the mouthfeel and chewability of the gum. This grades whether a gum is comfortable to keep in your mouth or if it feels like you're gnawing on a spare tire. Finally, we have ourselves time. This is the length of time that it takes for the sticky gum to lose its flavor and become a bland piece of goo that you just want to spit out. See it as this is the criteria that Ali was so intent on exploring, he's devised himself the perfect means of testing it.
How do we set a timer for like how long the gum stays last? So we like know how long we need to pause the timer when I spit out the gum.
You can tell that he's been thinking about this episode for a while. Also, let's be clear so we're all on the same page. I recognize that this whole episode was just his backdoor way of getting us to buy tons of gum to have lying around the house. Anyway, per Ollie's instructions, me, Steph, and our department extraordinaire, Rachel, are each going to be chewing every piece of gum and timing it. That way we can average out our scores to best estimate the average chew time for each brand of gum. And since we're dealing with so many different types of gum today, we're actually going to break things down into 3 separate rounds. Round 1 is dedicated to gum targeted at kids. I'm talking about all the Hubba Bubbas, the Bubbliciouses, the bubble tapes that you remember from your childhood. Round 2 will be for gums that are marketed towards adults. And finally, there's round 3, which will be the Wacky Bracky, where we take all the oddball gimmick gums like green apple flavored gummy paste or gum cigarettes, and they're all gonna duke it out for their shot at the title. Once we've tallied up all the scores for each gum division to have their bubble burst, today is certainly a mystery that'll give us plenty to chew on. Round number 1, kid flavors. Our 7 contestants for round 1 represent the gold standard for childhood chewing, ranging from double bubble gumballs to bog standard Bubblicious to the tooth-breaking bazooka and the iconic bubble tape.
A staple of childhood.
That being said, though, don't you dare be one of those people that I see circulating online who, like, pop it out of the bubble tape dispenser and, like, bite into it.
That can't be real.
It is. It's people provoking the internet just to provoke the internet.
The flavors.
If you are that person,
Stop.
Just
stop it.
Who hurt you? I'm sorry, please seek help.
However, as we got started with the experiment, one thing became immediately clear. Each gum has itself a different size. I mean, you can pop just a small single gumball into your mouth, or you can shove an entire roll of bubble tape in there. To make it a fair fight, we decided to stick to a single serving size of each respective brand. So, with that out of the way, it was time to start the experiment with the classic Gumball Machine Gumball Double Bubble.
This is hard.
I just so much saliva.
Right?
Man.
What? Hard. I can stop. It's so hard.
Alright, that's done. Why do I have a remote?
We had literally just started the episode, and
Sorry about
already
that.
the suggested puns were popping up all over the place.
I'm really enjoying my favorite area over here. It's very artificial. It's very loose.
I was gonna say, that being said, we are definitely on the down arc. We are less than a minute in. And it's like gone.
It's going down fast. Yeah. Wow, it's going down fast.
But it is a workout. I feel my jaw. It is a small ball, but it is a hearty ball.
It's a small ball, but it's a hearty ball. Slap that one on my gravestone. Anyway, 2 minutes later,
a lackluster 90 seconds. What can you buy for?
That's true. That's true.
So you got 90 seconds of moderate pleasure.
Let's just move on to the next one. We have to rate the other stuff.
Yes,
We have
okay.
so many to get through.
We do.
And we're already in such bad innuendo territory.
overall, our
Fucker, goddamn bastard. I'm okay. Fuck.
Which meant
That hurt.
Bubblegum was up next. And unlike the gumballs, Bubble Yum's intended serving size was huge. More than triple the size of a mini gumball, which, you know, gave us plenty of chew time to learn more about each other.
long one when I hear a weird story
Mhm.
about bubblegum?
I love to hear a weird story about bubblegum. As everyone with misophonia slowly cringes away from the computer.
So when I was 8, I, for some godly unknown reason, I really wanted braces. Yeah.
The only thing in history to say that.
But someone told me once that if you chew a lot of gum, it'll actually, like, it'll mess with your teeth. It'll make your teeth crooked. It's very good. Complete lie. But when I would chew gum, I don't want that often. But if I would chew gum, I would purposely try and, like, tangle it around in my teeth to try to make my teeth more crooked to increase the likelihood that I would get braces. I'm so sorry to my parents who probably spent like $12,000 trying to fix my teeth.
Why?
That wasn't the only secret to come out during all this.
What? Wait, what? How have I known you for this long and you can't blow bubble?
How do you not blow
How did I not know this?
It is perhaps my deepest, darkest secret. And as you might imagine, it suddenly became my co-host's life's work to teach me what I needed to know. It led to a very moist journey.
Yeah. And then I could just straight much
Yeah, do it. I've never learned how to blow bubbles. I tried a couple times.
No way.
Never able to.
I've known Matthew for 17 years and I had no idea he couldn't blow bubbles.
Why?
You're hiding this secret so
Well,
well.
I've also known you for 17 years, and I didn't know that you purposely tried to wreck your mouth for radio, so I feel like we're learning a lot about each other in this episode.
Just keep working at it. You have 30 pieces of gum to try today.
So, try I did. Try being the operative word here.
I do not know how to blow bubbles. You wrap it around your teeth until you get a pocket, then blow air and catch the edge with your lips.
Did I get it over? I heard some pop. I heard some pop. Did I do that?
Try it.
Something in the technique just escapes me. Honestly, blowing bubbles might just be the single hardest thing that I've ever had to do for this channel. That's saying a lot coming from a guy who's eaten a Christmas tree and suffered through intensely spicy hot sauces.
How are you extracting the tongue from the bubble gum?
It's a great question. What do you mean? The tongue doesn't stay in there.
I have a hard time
You
getting
set
my
it up
tongue
on your
out.
teeth. You flatten it out. Have you mentioned that Rachel is in HR department?
There it is. Rachel from HR. Once my tongue has been inserted, I have a really hard time holding it back out.
I think practice makes perfect
Dawned on us that this was going to be a long shoot. So to move things along, let me give you the abridged taste test. Bubblegum ended up scoring 8s across the board in flavor, and an average slightly higher in texture thanks to its pillowy chew, allowing it to set the bar for high-quality, long-lasting gum. Bubblicious watermelon was fairly solid across the board, but where it really shined was with the bubbles. It got consistently large bubbles from both Rachel and Steph, and it even gave me my first bubble experience.
Hey! You did it!
That counts, right? Now, for any of you who
Yes,
are
it does,
like
Matt.
me,
Yes, it does.
bubble form and looked up the science and technique for mastering
Alright.
bubble bending.
Where'd the
For
horns
starters,
go?
make sure you're chewing bubble gum and not chewing gum. I didn't know this until doing research and prep for this episode, but not all.
The Ferrero Rocher chocolate bar. Crunchy hazelnuts, smooth chocolate, creamy filling.
Which way do we want them to go?
Make any moment worth celebrating.
They go kind of this way. It kind of look like a weird alien, but this is how they go in nature.
Tell you something? Sunlight and water cannot satisfy your garden's hunger. So feed them miracle grow.
Pink.
And see the difference. Satisfy your garden's hunger with miracle grow.
Not all gum is capable of blowing bubbles. See, types of gum are composed of 4 main components. There's the gum piece, which is historically derived from gum tree members that are now mostly made from synthetic rubber. There's a softener that prevents the gum from becoming too hard on the shelf. Sweeteners like sugar or aspartame. And then finally, there's the flavor agent that gives the gum its distinct taste. What makes bubblegum special, though, is that it has more elastomers in its gum base than chewing gum. On a molecular level, elastomers are long-chain polymers that give materials an elastic quality. In order to get a bubble out of bubblegum, it's recommended that you chew out most of the flavor. This is because the sugary flavor of most bubblegums make the gum stiffer. Chewing out the sugar then unshackles the elastomers and gives them the chance to really stretch. Once the gum is soft and it's lost its sugar, the trick is to flatten out the wad of gum using your tongue and the roof of your mouth. Then it's a matter of creating a pocket of air to enter with your tongue. Next, you'll want to breathe out slowly. I didn't know this at the time, but you're supposed to blow from your diaphragm. If you just blow from your lips, you're going to end up turning that wet wad into a projectile. Follow these tips, and the results will speak for themselves.
You got it. That's the best one. I'm so proud of myself.
By the way, that mediocre but new personal record bubble is the next gum that we tested, the Hubba Bubba Max. Score-wise, this gum ended up being very similar in taste and texture with the Bubblicious. But disappointingly, while it looks like it has a gummy gusher on the packaging, the reality is that the center filling is just darker dyed gum. The interesting thing, though, is that this gum led us to a surprising discovery. Despite producing the largest bubble of the experiment, this achievement came with a price: the flavor staying power. We found that with all their bubble blowing, Rachel and Steph's flavors were fading faster than my gum that I was chewing away on. So what's the deal? Well, from what we found out, it has less to do with active blowing bubbles and more to do with the saliva itself. The vigorous chew that you need to stretch the elastomers in the gum naturally circulates more saliva throughout your mouth. And as we mentioned in our toothbrush episode over on Style Theory, genetically, everyone has slightly different levels of saliva. The composition of our spit is influenced by genetics, diet, our stress levels, even the time of day. Rachel, for instance, consistently was the first to spit out the majority of the gums throughout this experiment, likely meaning that her saliva was just better equipped for breaking down the chemical bonds that were embedded in the gum.
There.
That's or
Let's sit for a bit, and then we'll finish them up.
hours of shooting that we wound doing. Speaking of how long we were sitting there, by the way, by the end of the third gum, our jaws were exhausted. That's why Steph decided to bust out the big guns.
What is this? What am I supposed to do with this?
Rub it all over your face.
Oh my god. Does it feel nice? Is it working?
It did not. That said, it also didn't matter. I needed all the help I could get from Bazooka.
3, 2, 1, go. Oh my god. Oh. How much of that do I remember?
I'm proud.
You know?
Oh wow. I couldn't do this with permanent.
You remember Big Eye?
Shouldn't do this with permanent teeth.
That was just a couple
There
years
we go.
ago.
Oh, put a red bow on him.
Melon.
Oh my god.
Oh, it was just as bad as I remembered. Almost as bad as the jokes that they come packaged with.
Is this enough for 3 socks? Phone call to her. 3 socks? My mom wants to knit socks for my brother in the army. Why 3 socks? He wrote this letter 2 weeks in the army, and I've grown another foot.
I ordered apple, waiter. This looks like peach. Referring to a pie. What does it taste like? Says the waiter. I'm not sure, he says. And the waiter says, then what difference does it make?
For those of you who aren't aware, Bazooka is iconic for its packaging, which comes with a short mini-comic and fortune on every slab of gum. It's a cool enough feature that gave Bazooka a bonus point for creativity, but in the end, wasn't nearly enough to make up for the texture or flavor. That brought us to the last 2 contenders in the kid category.
You
A
bastard.
head-to-head battle between 2 titans, Big Lip Chew and Bubble Tape. In one corner, we had the tall, pink, and handsome, 6 feet of childhood memories rolled up in the most iconic gum packaging of all time. In the other corner, we had the
Scoop out the brains.
classic snack that was every kid's gateway into the world of chewing tobacco. Who would win the battle? Well, the results immediately spoke for themselves.
Oh, it's too soft. It's
That's
like
all
there's
you-
no elasticity in it at all.
You bite down through it, and your teeth just pass through. Like there's no substance here. Oh, that was soft to begin with.
Oh, right off the bat.
Wow.
Oh, I like these first few chews, though. I have to say, it was very nice.
And when it came to bubbles, it was a similar story.
Oh. No bubbles, no bubbles.
I'm gonna put a big red ribbon on him,
Oh, no.
and if I can find some little black pom-poms to go down, I think it'd be quite handsome.
I mean,
I think that's about it.
Hey, it's not too bad.
You have to do more with less.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's nice.
all in all, Big League Chew brought out the big league numbers. In fact, not only was its texture the best of the round, it was also the longest lasting, setting a record at 9 minutes and 38 seconds. In fact, when all the results were tallied, Big League Chew upset all the fan favorites and came out on top as the best overall kids gum. Turns out it's in the official Baseball Hall of Fame for a reason. But don't worry there, Bubble Tape fans. It's still top gum in one category, angering the internet.
Ah, no!
No,
It
gee.
didn't deserve that. None of us did.
Round number 2, adult gums. As we headed into the adult gums, little did we know that we had a lot more chewing to undertake. It turns out that these chewing gums retain their flavor much longer than their bubblegum counterparts, like double the time in most cases. And the worst part of it all is that a lot of gums just ended up being very similar across all 3 categories. Luckily, you don't have to sit through the 2 hours of endless chewing that we had to. So while Matt passed his chewing
God.
day away,
For a moment, I thought it was like 2 hours for one gum.
from the first batch. You see, most of these adult gums are recommended by 4 out of 5 dentists. That struck us as a weird fact, so we decided to dig in. Turns out it has to do with the sugar substitutes. Sugar-free gum can actually help protect your teeth from cavities. A natural sugar alcohol called xylitol is usually added to sugar-free chewing gums in place of sucrose. The reason why sugar is bad for your teeth is that the bacteria in plaque metabolizes it into acid that burns cavities into your pearly whites. But the bacteria in plaque is unable to use xylitol as a food source. Adding insult to injury, xylitol also increases the amino acids and ammonia levels of plaque, which further neutralize plaque's acidic qualities. By curbing this harmful bacteria's growth, xylitol prevents tooth decay and bad breath. In addition, chewing gum after a meal increases saliva flow to your mouth, washing away additional food debris that would otherwise stick to your maw and feed that bacteria. Oh, and if you think you're missing any vital action while I'm sharing you all this, don't worry about it. So here's how the round shook out. Mentos gum was far and away the worst in the 3 categories.
For me, it was a 5 because
Oh,
I know this is Mentos, and I usually have, if I'm going to have Mentos, I have the candy version, and I had the same texture biting into it. I wanted it to be candy. I expected it to be candy. There were moments where I was like, is this gum? Is this really gum? I've never found it.
You could say that it kind of sat in the uncandy valley.
Oh!
Joining Mentos in the bottom 4 of this round, we had Trident, followed by Orbit, and then Cinnamon Icebreakers. While the cinnamon ended up being one of my favorite flavors of the entire day, the short life and stiff competition hurt its overall placement. Icebreakers, you may have only lasted 6 minutes and 48 seconds, but you'll last forever in my heart. Tied for best flavor of the day was a classic of the gum world. Our 3rd place finisher for adult gums, Wrigley's Double Mint. Mr. Wrigley is actually the IRL Willy Wonka of the gum world. This company controls 40% of worldwide gum sales. So it's no surprise that one of his classic flavors placed so highly. In fact, the battle for the best adult chewing gum came down between 2 of his other top sellers, 5 Gum and Extra. Yeah, as it turns out, Wrigley has really cracked the code for a satisfying gum chewing experience. And so no matter who won this bracket, he was ultimately...
Sometimes sacrifices must be made. Today's gonna be our skin. And some of our fingerprints.
Not only did both 5 Gum and Extra hit above average marks in the texture and flavor categories, but they also had flavor that lasted long past the 10-minute mark. In the end, 5 Gum proved that it was more than just a meme, stimulating our senses with a chewing average.
Thrilling, I know. I don't know how you guys can stand this so high-paced live stream I have.
Last 10.
There. Nice big red bow I think he deserves.
The Jolt round has itself a champion. Let's check out what the wacky bracket has in store. Round number 3, wacky bracket.
I don't know why I've gotten into clown faces. Like, I usually hate clowns. So it's a little weird for me.
Change after the 2 hours of monotonous chewing that we were left with for round 2. On our sampling platter,
This one's going to be a little bit difficult because it's almost the full size of the head.
Gummy gel, even more tobacco propaganda in the form of candy cigarettes. And let me just make one thing clear right at the top of this round. Practically all of these sucked. While the mini Chickles were fun, their tiny size also brought tiny flavor. But I'd rather a small amount of flavor any day compared to whatever flavor the gum fries were trying to serve.
That is supposed to be sweet, but is like 3 doors away from sweet.
Not only is the flavor diminishing, pretty quickly, but it's actually getting worse. The flavor is changing and becoming more and more synthetic.
I don't use the word heinous too often in my life. This is heinous.
It tastes expired.
Fortunately, the
Taste
fries
expired.
don't have much staying power, meaning that I can cleanse my mouth with the healthiest chewing gum brand that we could get our hands on, Glee. And right away with Glee, you could tell that it was the healthy option.
100% natural, no plastic.
What?
I say that no plastic. No artificial colors, no artificial flavors, no artificial sweeteners. This is cane sugar, gum base, which is the chicle, chicle, Candelio wax, citric acid, brown rice syrup, gum Arabic, natural flavors, strawberry, raspberry, and blueberry, radish.
Radish.
But in a gum competition full of big wads of sugar, yeah, healthiness is not scoring you any points. We then moved on to the very strange seedlings, which are more or less the same double bubble gum balls that we tried in the first round, with 2 added gimmicks. First, they're shaped like a fruit, which is a lot of fun. Secondly, they're filled with little grains
I don't know why
of candy
TikTok is
inside
pushing
that act
my
like seeds.
live stream to you guys, but thanks for stopping in to say hi. You're always welcome.
But for as cool as these realistic-looking mini oranges and lemons were, they were not for the weak of jaw.
What?
I gotta say though, my jaw feels like it's getting the workout of a lifetime.
This one in particular, it's really hard.
Doesn't get easier. I mean, it does get easier because the beginning was really tough, but it doesn't get easier.
Despite technically earning the longest chew of the round, their texture was so rough and grainy that it tanked any chance of winning. Which brings us to the next one, which kinda needs an explanation. You see, this one comes to us thanks to the Christmas tree episode from a couple weeks ago. We had a late shipment of spruce gum that we were originally going to be using for that episode, but it arrived late, so we figured we could use it here. And if you've learned anything during my attempts to get my family and employees to consume an entire spruce tree,
Ooh. You have that itch between like your jaw and your nose. Gargling salt water will help.
really strong. Since we've had this gum kicking around the office for a while, Rachel actually knew what we were getting ourselves into.
I'm excited to see y'all's reaction to the texture specifically.
The texture?
Yes.
When you tell me spruce gum, I'm surprised that it's not the flavor of it that's...
I mean, they're all surprising. In terms of timing, I don't think we're gonna make it to the end.
Okay.
To be fair,
Really?
so I think probably try to do this as long as you possibly can.
Really?
Yeah.
It looks like a little Tootsie Roll.
Yes, it does. It looks kind of cute.
Spruce gum in 3, 2, 1.
Oh.
Right to go. Right to cheek.
It's like, oh.
Ew.
Oh, no.
Oh, they're so dry.
It has a very strong texture.
It like breaks apart in your mouth when you get it, but then it gets softer, and it's almost like,
Oh yeah, you have to congeal it with your spit.
Yeah, upon first biting into it, it
Alright,
explodes into a
that
dry
one's
woodsy powder.
got his
Just goes to
face.
show kids,
Kinda
purchasing
handsome.
loose candy from
Very head heavy, but
is a bad
we don't judge for that.
Of like Tootsie Roll. Like I keep biting it and I keep hoping that it'll like lessen in my mouth.
And it's like having a piece of butter. No, I keep waiting for this to come out.
I don't think it's better.
It is not.
You lose your tags because you are now wild. Art.
When you breathe out, it's pure punch. I mean, just absolutely unadulterated fur. I feel like I'm losing the will to chew.
Ash is handling this.
We're losing the will to
It's
chew.
like showing the concept of nature.
Concept of nature. That's a good one.
Concept of nature. Yeah. 2024.
Now, this is me totally not making an excuse to spit out this pine salt flavored Tootsie Roll, but I actually think the flavor does go away. It's just that the spruce lingers on in your mouth for a long time afterwards. So with that reasoning, we decided to call our homemade spruce tree gum totally flavorless at 351. Our penultimate gum of the experiment was Victory branded gum cigarettes. And let me tell you, the packaging on these bad boys is shockingly realistic.
I didn't realize they were like this.
What the heck?
But you open the pack, and I mean, you are literally getting a pack of cigarettes.
Yeah. Ash, you like candy cigarettes too, right?
I do.
You want one of these?
For sure.
Wow, you're such an enabler, Steph.
I know.
Just say no, Ash.
I'm saying yes.
Wait, we could have melted blood as a big little puff. Okay.
Where's the? I haven't got anywhere. There it is.
I vaguely remember it.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, you only get like one out.
That's great.
That's nuts. This is nuts.
This is propaganda.
It is. So my only question is, does it get a bonus point for that? Because I'm real conflicted. On one hand, I'm like, that's really fun and cool. But on the other hand, it's like, but it's cigarettes for kids.
But if we're gonna give Big League a bonus point, I feel like this can also have a bonus.
This is a very creative presentation, I have to say.
Okay, let's give a bonus point.
Except this point that I feel compelled to share the message. Don't smoke, theorists. It's gross. It'll rot your body into an early grave. That said, this obviously isn't a cigarette, it's a stick of gum. I just want to make that point very, very clear because 3 minutes into chewing this stick of gum, something became obvious to me.
I think it's mud something. Oh no.
Oh no.
Smoking
Smoking propaganda is gonna win the third round. You're gonna give this to your child. No, and what's worse is that Big League 2 won a problem. No. Where's the guard line?
I trim it behind the face after I get it attached initially, so the hot glue can attach to the base and not just the top layer of the fur, because then it'll be wobbly.
But there was still one contender left. A glimmer of hope that this love letter episode dedicated to my son didn't have to hard pivot into a strange promotion for tobacco-related gum products. And that hope was Gummy Green Apple Paste. Could this toothpastey gel-based gum keep me from being scientifically obligated into giving my son a gateway gum?
Oh no.
No, it could not.
I thought the pie was the worst texture. It's not, it's this. Is this down?
Oh, I hate this.
Yeah, there was no hope. This was truly the darkest timeline. With 3 rounds complete,
The darkest timeline.
the top contenders were 5 Gum, Big League Chew, and Candy Cigarettes. So, not wanting to skew the results, but also not wanting to feed our son a bunch of child-friendly propaganda, we decided to rebrand things a little bit. Ollie would be tasting the creatively named 5 Gum, Shredded Gum, and Stick Gum. Let's just hope that he never asks us to pick up more at the store. Final round, Ollie's choice. After 5 hours of patiently waiting for Mom and Dad to finally allow him to test the mountain of gum that he'd been eyeing, my boy was off to the races.
Can I start chewing?
Oh, start chewing. Ready, go. That was kind of hard, huh?
Lord, that's a stopwatch.
You got it. Oh, yeah.
I can test for you, buddy.
Absolutely.
There we go.
And are you gonna go until it loses its flavor? Whoa.
Oh, man.
I'm usually just focused on the gum.
Just focused on the gum.
Single-minded. I appreciate your result.
Focused on the gum.
To me, it's just a sadder fruit lasting gum.
Yep.
I think the flavor's all done.
Okay.
The flavor's all done?
And let's spit it
Right,
out.
you spit it right into the trash can?
That was 128.
Okay, ready? Oh, there we go. All right.
This really tastes like hubba bubble bubble tape. Ooh.
Yep.
Okay, kind of wants to.
All done? Okay.
No way. Okay, so that was at 1 minute and 22 seconds.
Now, this one is a very minty one, okay? Just so you know.
I've tried it extra like a million times. I've got this.
Okay?
There's a lot of unit extra. I'm trying to hold on with this piece for now.
Okay, great. That is a minute 30.
All right.
I also threw
Set! Come on.
Forever, Bazooka.
Bazooka. Bazooka.
Just as a warning.
I can put some horns on everybody.
Very hard. It will get softer, but it's
Alright, his face is on. A little flatter, but his face is on.
5 years old and he's already a teenager.
Yeah, there's the comment.
You're set. Come here.
Mortimer, why are you late?
Whew.
You said we should obey the
This one got the beanies in the butt. Heavy boy. What does this say? Knickerbocker Bears. Recycled fiberfill.
Okay, so clearly the comic
Watch this be like $100 bear I'm cutting up.
would, but hey, he didn't hate it. More
Too late.
importantly, fortune, yeah, that
His
was
face is
hard.
off.
You can get what you want. That's the right person.
Grandpa.
Or if you want an episode dedicated to gum,
He like Bush.
Yeah, exactly.
I think this fortune has already proven true.
But what would be his overall winner? Well, defying all odds, it actually was the Bazooka. He chewed it the longest, he loved the comic, even if he didn't quite understand it, and for the next 3 days, he chose that as his dessert of the day, over all other gums, candies, cookies, and ice cream that we could offer him. I don't know what was more shocking, the fact that he liked it so much, or the fact that he still has teeth after chewing those bricks for 3 days straight. That's it. When it came to our actual results and the 3 finalists that we had for this episode, what did I always say?
Of the 3 gums,
Just those 3.
the stick gum, the shreddy gum, and the spearmint gum. Which was your favorite? Which would you say is the top?
I think it's the shred gum.
It's like little pom-poms here.
And there you have it, friends. Of all the gum in the world, Ollie gives the
Be
coveted
white,
seal
though.
of approval to Shred Gum, aka Big League Chew. Who knew that family-friendly chaw would be so good? I guess I'm gonna have to lock this video.
Maybe don't have to go with the white one.
18. Anyway, right. With my parental
Two different
promise now
sizes?
fulfilled, there was one thing
Yeah,
left
we'll
to
go
do.
two different
Give
sizes.
Ollie his first ever sign-off. Happy chewing. But hey, if you want something to chew on that's not going to leave your jaw hurting and probably is a lot more nutritious than gum, make sure to check out our sponsor for today's episode, Cook Unity. I gotta say, this has quickly become a favorite in my house because the meals are made by actual chefs every day in regional micro kitchens, not some giant warehouse. I suppose you could say that they go the extra mile to eclipse the competition. And the meals definitely make you go hubba bubba. See what I did there with all the gum puns? Admittedly a bit of a stretch, but also not untrue. The chefs really do put an emphasis on flavor with real ingredients to give inventive meals that are easy to prepare. Just heat them up and
Come
good to
here.
go.
It's a
The
different thing.
customization options are also incredible. Whether I need gluten-free options or if I decide to go paleo, there's a meal for it. It feels nice knowing exactly who whipped up your dish. That's a nice little personal touch to the whole thing. Like tonight, I'm eating a meal from Ruben Garcia, a grilled chicken and truffle risotto, and man, is this a welcome taste after those gum fries. I'm usually hesitant with truffles because it can be a bit of an overwhelming flavor.
I've
This
never
was
had
balanced.
truffles.
It was creamy.
I'd love to try
The best
truffles.
part for me though is
I
that
think
Cook
probably
Unity
close I can get around
flexible
here is
and
like
it fits
truffle
my
oil.
schedule. I travel a lot, just always coming and going. And so being able to pause the service whenever I need to really comes in clutch to make sure that I'm not wasting food and not wasting money. Or, you know, there's always those times when the gum you accidentally swallowed over the course of a video has filled your stomach for weeks to come, and that allows you to skip weeks or cancel your meals at any point. But you don't have to take my word for it. You can actually go to cookunity.com/foodT50 or
Hurry
click
up
the
and
link down in
set.
the description below and then use the code FOODT50, that's FOODT50, to get 50% off your first order of Cook Unity meals. Again, that's FOODT50 to get 50% off your first order of Cook Unity meals. Thank you again, Cook
I
Unity,
don't
for
have any
sponsoring
dark
today's
purple.
video and for sponsoring the meal that I so desperately need after that was the scum episode. And as always, my friends, remember, it's just a theory. A food theory. Bon appetit.
See if I use purple.
You really
That'll
think you
tie
can
kind of
handle
into the
dark
eyes, even if they're not the same shade. It'll kind of bring them out a bit.
It's delicious. I told you it wasn't bitter. From the Lindt Master Chocolatier, discover excellence. Expect delicious.
Know if you're Russian is still giving you the best
Good.
money.
Alright.
Oral-B Isle Smart Crystals will tell you. Their color fades telling you when to change. So you get back to 100% cleaning power. Your perfect clean starts with Oral-B.
When it looks like it got run over by a bus, change your toothbrush. Thank you guys for the thumbs up today.
So, has anyone actually ever figured out Colonel Sanders' secret recipe blend of 11 herbs and spices? Dozens upon dozens of individuals claim to have solved the world-renowned mystery, but which of them, if any, should we believe? Should we believe the Colonel's own nephew, who used to mix the spices himself when he was a child? The scientist who chemically analyzed KFC's ingredients in a laboratory? Or should we believe KFC, the multinational corporation that has nothing to gain and everything to lose by the recipe becoming public knowledge, who claims to this very day, quote, "No one's ever been right"? Well, never fear, theorists, because today's food theory will answer it all. We're putting the most legitimate contenders to the test, as well as our own.
Oh,
Spoiler
Frig! I
alert,
forgot to
think
fill
you
up the
got it.
box. And they're closed. Oh, and I forgot the cat food. The cat's medicine. The garden's done. So.
Welcome to Food Theory, where today we're doing something very scary, actually cooking.
Cooking food. Oh my gosh.
And not just cooking any food, we are cooking perhaps one of the best kept secret foods in all of history, Colonel Sanders' secret.
Does this have a...
What do you think
No,
the secret is?
I think the secret is love.
Oh man, and I was thinking it was just like little clippings of his beard that had fallen into the chicken batter.
So I think everyone can agree that KFC's 11 infamous herbs and spices are one of the most
I
renowned
think the
secret
lie
recipes
is,
in food history.
there's no
and
11.
we found a lot of different recipes that say that they've cracked
It's either
the code.
13 or
And today
less.
We're gonna put them to the test.
Yeah, so we have 5 different dupe recipes that we're going to be trying today. Some of them are crowdsourced, some of them come from food scientists.
And some of them even come from Colonel Sanders himself. Ooh, question mark.
So let's get going.
Yeah, there's a lot to cover today, and a lot of
Making a
chicken
little
that needs
space
to be
so I
fried.
can reach that
let's stop throwing our bowls around and start cooking. As we throw our bowls in the ring, it's important to keep in mind that recreating KFC's original recipe is a bit like hitting a moving target. People have been trying to get the recipe right since before I was born, and during that time, the taste of KFC's chicken has
Isn't he
changed
grumpy?
to a certain degree. The secret 11 herbs and spices almost certainly haven't, but we know for a fact that KFC has tweaked other aspects of the recipe and preparation process, like adopting new frying oils that contain fewer trans fat. Even late Colonel Sanders believed
I
his
think this one's
recipe
gonna
was
need some
altered to a noticeable
claws.
degree during his own lifetime. Shortly after selling Kentucky Fried Chicken in 1964, he began voicing
Good lord, you
displeasure
don't
about
fit. I'm
perceived
sorry.
recipe changes being
Should I
made
just put
under
you to the
KFC's
side
new
then?
ownership. As a
I'll do
result,
that.
some of the recipe contenders we're looking at today
I'll buy
seek
you a
to
body.
recreate the Colonel's true
buy you the perfect
original
body.
recipe before KFC corporate took over. Other recipe contenders seek to recreate the taste of KFC's original recipe the way we've come to know and love it in more recent decades. In recent years, KFC's adopted soybean oil as its frying oil of choice in many locations, especially here in the US. Since we'll be comparing our recipe contenders against contemporary KFC chicken fried in soybean oil, we're gonna fry all of our contender recipes in soybean oil too. Last thing I'll mention, it's well known that KFC fries their chicken in pressure fryers, which not only fry the chicken faster, but also give KFC's fried chicken its distinct extra crispy texture. Sadly, I didn't have one of those in the kitchen, so today's contender recipes are gonna have to settle for the deep fryer. Steph and I promise to judge them not on texture, but taste and taste alone. And also, to be fair, our chicken totally turned out crispier. Just saying. Now, without further ado, let's put our first contender to the test. This recipe was developed by author and TV host Todd Wilbur.
So Todd Wilbur, for those who don't know, is actually famous for recreating famous recipes. He's done the Big Mac, he's done Wendy's chili, he's done a whole bunch of secret famous recipes that you shouldn't technically be able to make at home, including the KFC original recipe.
Do you really need someone to recreate the Big Mac? The commercials tell you what's in it.
Well, there's
Two
a
all beef
special
patties,
sauce.
special sauce.
Special sauce. What's that?
Isn't it just Thousand Island dressing?
I don't. What? He's also done Mrs. Fields cookies. Anyway, I thought that was interesting.
That does sound delicious.
I know.
I love this man. Can we hire him? I feel like this is a person who should be on this channel.
He's already a best-selling author who's been on like every major talk show. He doesn't need us.
But has he been on YouTube before? We can poorly animate a stick figure of him.
Come on, little fucker.
That does sound like a high-value proposition. We should call him.
We should. Call us up, Todd Wilbur.
Well, let's see how his recipe works out first and then decide.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good point.
Now, the reason we're starting with this recipe is because Todd Wilbur, on top of being a guy who's talented enough to have made a career out of hacking recipes, really seems to have done the legwork to get the recipe right. In 2011, Wilbur's TV show, Top Secret Recipe, visited KFC's pressure fryer supplier, and Wilbur spoke with a friend and business associate who knew the Colonel personally.
Cherry, T-O-X-N-G-R. Cherry pepper. It gives it the aftertaste.
This, of course, was on top of Wilbur's own research and trial and error efforts. But perhaps the most useful thing of all is the fact that Wilbur's findings were adapted into a full-blown
Thanks, Ron.
step-by-step recipe. The same cannot be said for
I have
certain
a
other
convention
contender recipes in
next
today's
weekend,
episode.
so I need to
Seriously,
make
some
a
of our basic
product.
ingredients, ingredients without
And I ain't
these
got
are
shit done. So I'm kind of in a little bit of a panic right now.
Stephanie had a
I
traumatic
spent the
experience
last couple of days working on the garden trying to get that finished.
Completely banned.
So this is
And now
actually
that's
the first
done.
black pepper that I've
I can
had
concentrate fully on
over a
this
decade.
after, 4 12-hour shifts in a row at work.
Pretty much.
Not even on salad. or
Concentrate on it
pasta.
fully.
Not even in soup. We just don't use
Soup
black
would be good.
pepper
I'm
here.
starving today.
Sir,
I
say
should
when.
make some pasta salad.
Remember, sir, you can say when.
What time is it?
Brining, dredging, breading, and frying were finally completed.
Okay,
It was time
9:30.
for
I got plenty of time.
Wilbur's recipe head-to-head
Not to make any
against
food,
KFC's
but
original.
Should we do KFC first? It's delicious.
chapter 10
I
of
definitely
what?
get some of the pepperiness. I definitely get some sort of aromatic something in there, but I don't really know what it is.
No,
Fine.
I'll read that later.
For 11 herbs and spices in there. I'm getting a lot.
I'm mostly just tasting pepper, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm getting pepper. I get the pepper on the back end. But I'm not getting a big spice mix. Interesting.
Let's
All right.
taste Todd,
Todd.
shall we?
Here we go.
All right, here we go,
This is
Todd.
the man who literally wrote the book on secret
We're
recipes.
counting on you. Oh, we made great fried chicken.
Wow. Wow. So yeah, first impression. Our fried chicken is great. Good job,
It's
Steph.
so good. It's so good. I'm so happy right
This is
now.
great.
Wow. The flavor is the thing that matters. I actually am not getting as much pepper in this one as I did from KFC. I like it a bit better, to be honest, but I think that KFC has a different flavor than this.
Yes. I'm not getting any of that like black pepperiness that I'm feeling on the back end of the KFC. In a scale of 1 to 10, matching KFC, what would you rate Todd Wilbur's?
I would actually only rate this about a 6. Sorry, Todd.
Real 6. That's pretty high. I would rate it at probably about a 4.
Wow. Okay, you're really dipping in there.
I gotta have somewhere to go. This is my first one. Maybe I'm artificially breaking it too well.
I tried to aim for the middle, so I had room on either side.
Now on to recipe contender number 2, which isn't exactly a recipe per se. It's actually a lab result published by author William Poundstone in his
I'm so freaking
1983
hungry.
book Big Secrets. That's right, this guy had a laboratory conduct a
Alright, I'll work on this
analysis
till
on a sample of KFC
10:30, another
in order to identify every
hour.
ingredient that's present. What's noteworthy about
And then I'll go up,
Poundstone's
do the
findings was
dishes,
that the
make
lab
some
didn't
pasta
find
salad for
11 herbs
tomorrow.
and spices. Not even close. In fact, the lab results identified just 4 ingredients total: flour, salt, black pepper, and MSG. Yeah, Poundstone verified that the seasoning mixture he tested the only seasoning involved in the preparation process. No, there was no additional substance found in the entire sample. Not a single grain. And yes, the lab was able to identify every single ingredient present in the sample. So according to Big Secrets, there are just 3 seasoning ingredients mixed into KFC's breading flour. That is a far cry from the 11 herbs and spices, especially considering that salt and MSG aren't technically herbs or spices at all.
Steph, I know that one of the things that you and I have always talked about with food theory is that we've wanted the ability to analyze recipes in a lab setting.
Oh my gosh, I want to send everything through a mass spectrometer.
Yeah, if any of you have access to a mass spectrometer, hit us up. We want to actually tap into
Be silent, be silent.
Coke and other things.
Yes.
We promise we'll give your
We should fix that
institution a
up so
shout
while
out.
we wait.
So if there are any universities out there that need some shameless self-promotion, we are here to be shameless for you. She knows how to use a mass spectrometer.
I can use it safely, I promise.
Now, preparing fried chicken a la Poundstone was way more challenging than preparing Todd Wilbur's recipe. What the laboratory's qualitative analysis and Big Secrets didn't supply were proportions. The lab was asked to identify all ingredients present in the sample, but they were not asked to determine the quantities of those ingredients. So Steph and I were kind of on our own to determine the correct amounts of each seasoning ingredient. We made an educated guess by borrowing ideas from similar recipes, but still, Poundstone really left us hanging here.
This is how much I love Stephanie. I'm not making her touch the black pepper at all.
That is nice.
This is my gift to you, Stephanie.
I appreciate you.
A little bit better.
Today, food theory grad-
Maybe it just needs both.
Oh, food theory, you're growing up into a legitimate recipe.
Andrew from Binging with Babish, we're coming for you.
Binging with Babish.
I think this would be a nice purple bow.
Food theory. He's not.
Alright. Is that everybody who had faces got their faces except for the owl face? I think so. Alright. Now, so I did this. This is fine. But the tentacles that I added, I sealed them with a something called Triple Thick. It's very nice, it's shiny, it's thick, adds a nice gloss when making like drool and blood and stuff. Unfortunately, it reacts with polymer clay, turning it into a sticky mess. So I did these last year, and I can't sell them when they're sticky. So
He's not afraid.
No, not even.
I'm afraid just thinking of him.
Eventually, I got over my fear and got back to work. After refamiliarizing ourselves with KFC's original recipe, Steph and I bit into our William Poundstone-inspired chicken,
go.
and you see the rest.
From an accuracy standpoint,
Yeah,
However,
from an accuracy standpoint, 1 to 10.
DuraClear is a polyurethane,
Wow.
and it does not make this shit sticky.
Mine is still a 4.
I'm gonna fix up my chip,
Same level of accurate. You got
and
that
then
salt
coat
in
that.
there. But congratulations, you got flour, which is how you make fried chicken.
yeah.
But yeah,
All right.
all right.
Next.
Now, to be fair, Poundstone's laboratory test was performed nearly 40 years ago, and KFC's original recipe may have changed slightly since then. Also, Steph and I probably guessed a bit wrong on the ingredient proportions, but hey, it's kind of on old Poundstone. Next up, the fried chicken seasoning that sounds like it was someone's handle in a game of laser tag, 99X.
This was one's actually really fascinating. So Colonel Sanders apparently was so disappointed with the KFC Corporation watering down his recipe or the instructions that they were giving out to franchisees of the name that he went to an external company, Mary & Kay Spices, and said, hey, make me this spice recipe. And then he encouraged all the people who were doing KFC restaurants to go with this spice recipe.
Yeah, it's actually here. It's bottled. You can buy it to this day.
Yeah, you can buy it, but it has to go by the name 99X because the KFC Corporation got into a lawsuit with these guys to basically be like, hey, stop it. No, get out of here.
Which maybe like meant that they were on the right track.
No,
I feel like this has promise.
Personally, I think that this is the one that is going to knock it out of the ballpark. It also just solidifies Harlan's reputation as like difficult guy to work with. Here, I'm gonna sell my company to this larger company, but I'm gonna try to undermine them because I'm not happy with the work they're doing. Fascinating.
So the story behind 99X seems really promising.
Why'd that get black all of a sudden?
We don't know the recipe of 99X. All we know are the ingredients that they've listed on the packaging, as required by the FDA.
Where's the black pink coming from?
This spice blend contains, quote, monosodium glutamate, white and black pepper, fine flake salt, sage, coriander, and other natural spices. But that's it. It means if 99X winds up being the perfect taste match, the Colonel's secret is still pretty safe. Mary & Kay includes a brief borderline cryptic recipe on their site, and that is what we're going to be testing today.
I gotta say, I just love the fact that one of the spices we're using today is called 99X. It's like the hardest core kitchen spice ever.
Right?
So clearly you can see a lot of black pepper in there. It smells really good. It's actually super fragrant. I'm shocked
There
at
we
how
go.
little we actually need.
That dries. I will do the edge again. And hopefully, maybe 2 coats, and that'll stop being fucking sticky.
Nothing.
What do you think?
Much flour.
Wouldn't you want this on your wall?
Recipe was a cinch to make.
A haunted
We are going
house
to put
with
99X
haunted
to
waters?
the test in no time. As always, we tasted KFC's original recipe chicken first, then the contender.
Right? This one is actually much good. And this
Oh,
is
well,
not,
I got the polyurethane out. Come here.
too salty.
That you sealed up.
This one is really good.
I'll get you out.
It's really, really close.
So on the accuracy scale of 1 to 10, I would give this one like an 8. Like maybe I can taste a difference, but I'm not entirely sure all the time, which says to me that it's like up there. It's like an 8.
Yeah, I think if you gave me this in a blind taste test, I would have a really hard time knowing it was different from KFC's.
Yeah.
I think the 99X, without question, is the closest that we've done so far.
Yeah. It also might be my favorite so far.
It is my favorite so far.
Yeah, I really like this one. I would recommend that recipe above the other two, partially because it's so much easier. There's just, you buy one ingredient and you're kind of done.
Yeah.
And then it came out great. This one is also super crispy, just throwing it out there.
So the one thing that I would love to have seen with this actually is this mixture, but with the 99X cranked up a little bit, with the ratio a little bit higher in the spice category.
With just a little bit more, I feel like it would be like a 10.
Yeah, I feel like you could get it right there, because right now it's just a little bit more subtle than what I'm getting out of the KFC.
You know what though? I'm not sure I would like it better if you did. I like this one a lot.
It's really good.
Like better than the KFC. Like
Ooh, really?
I like
Alright,
the first
so
one
that's
better
a
than
dry.
KFC too. I really like fried chicken.
Stuff is throwing KFC under the bus.
I know, sorry.
Yeah.
Now, the story behind our next recipe contender also seems really promising. In 2016, the food world got rocked by an article in the Chicago Tribune. Joe Lettington, the nephew of Colonel Sanders himself, came forward with handwritten recipe found in an old scrapbook passed down to him from his Aunt Claudia Price, who was Harlan Sanders' second wife. While the note is not written in the Colonel's handwriting, Joe claims it contains the correct ingredients and proportions for the Colonel's second blend. And Joe should know. He actually worked at Harlan's Diner when he was a kid, and claims to have even mixed the blend of herbs and spices himself. Now, the Chicago Tribune tested this recipe themselves, and determined that the capital T's on the recipe referred to tablespoons, not teaspoons. They claimed the recipe tasted quite similar to KFC's original recipe as written, but when they took the liberty of adding MSG, the recipe became, quote, virtually indistinguishable. So we took their word for it on both fronts. We went with tablespoons, and we added MSG. The Chicago Tribune also prepared their chicken with a buttermilk egg bath instead of the skim milk egg bath that we've been using thus far. Since their results wound up being virtually indistinguishable, we followed their steps to the letter.
This is a lot of seasoning relative to all the other recipes that
Yeah.
we've done. This is a lot.
The ratio of flour to seasoning is much different.
4 tablespoons of paprika. This is gonna be a really spicy chicken.
Right?
Wow.
It's gonna be a really intense recipe.
This is so vastly different from all the other recipes we've done so far.
It's literally a completely different color than all of the other chicken
It's
recipes.
wild.
It's red, it's yellow, it's brown. You can actually see the seasoning in there. I'm most excited about this one.
Me
go.
too. This one's gonna be good, I think.
The recipe calls for 4 tablespoons of paprika.
See if I
which
can
makes
find
the
you a
darker
pretty ribbon.
that we found in the previous recipes. I promise that color's not from staying in the fryer too long. It stayed in the fryer the exact same way
Oh,
as
shit.
every other one of these tested. And also, the breading had a really nice consistency when it hit our mouths.
Okay, so Matthew, here's what I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
You will probably not find relatable.
Okay.
But growing up here in North Carolina,
Yeah.
I used to go to like mom and pop places where they would serve like mom and pop fried chicken.
Sure.
All the
It
things
looked
I
like-
have, you think pink and blue
It tasted spicier.
would be my
And it
most
was more similar to this than any of the other ones we've tried.
got some potential.
So this is to me like a southern style mom and pop recipe.
The weird thing about this one is, and the thing that I don't quite understand, I feel like it should have more flavor than it does. It looks like it's saturated with spice and flavor. You
Ooh, we're
saw
getting
the
somewhere.
amount of spice and flavor that
I
went
got
into
some more
that
of that.
mix. And I bite it, and there's not a whole lot of flavor there.
The buttermilk has made it super juicy. I will say
Yeah,
that.
it's super juicy. The meat is actually delicious.
Oh my god!
But definitely not KFC. On a scale of 1 to 10, does it match KFC? It's like
It was like a 3.
like 2.
Yeah.
Because I was rating it at 4 before. The
Yeah.
other one feels much, much better.
I can't believe these results actually. I'm shocked.
8.
No, it,
The thing.
Introducing Full Body Active. New styles, new colors, new stretches, new feels.
Yeah, it's not purple I wanted. No more. Pink. Let's see. Can't see anything.
Excel. Do what we can do.
Now, it's important to keep in mind that if this recipe is indeed authentic, it could very well date back to the 1950s or even 40s, when the Colonel was still developing the recipe. It could be an example of the Colonel's true OG recipe the way he intended it, before
shit.
KFC corporate got their
green.
finger-licking fingers in the mix. So the fact that it doesn't match the look or taste of contemporary KFC chicken should be taken with a grain of MSG. Something similar could also be said for our next recipe, known as TC34D. It also seeks to recreate the Colonel's OG recipe, as opposed to the fried
Let's
chicken
go a little
sold by KFC
darker.
corporate today. But what you need to
I like the
understand about
lighter one, though.
TC34D is that it's a recipe meticulously, and I do mean meticulously, crafted by the internet hive mind.
There is a secret. The internet will find it and tear it apart.
Maybe?
And so you had a group of devoted KFC fans trying to actually solve the Colonel's secret recipe. And these guys weren't just content in solving it. They were getting down to the level of finding where in the world geographically these ingredients were coming from.
I mean, just take a look at this recipe. It's not enough to add 5/16 teaspoons of ginger. They're asking you to find ginger specifically from
Hey, I found a brain.
Jamaica because the flavor profile is
I found a little brain.
more accurate. Ready to
Yeah.
add
Add this in the file.
0.020 grams of cardamom? Better make sure it's Guatemalan first. Definitely wasn't easy to find all these ingredients, even with Google. Couldn't help but wonder if Colonel Sanders really gave a hoot whether or not his white pepper was from Malaysia back when he was crafting his recipe out of a gas station. But hey, I'm not gonna knock it until I've tried this amazingly detailed recipe for myself. TC34D is believed to be a product of a now defunct internet forum, kfc.forumup.com. KFCRecipes.co.uk, which is inactive today because members believe that they cracked the recipe a while ago. For years, this dedicated group of internet sleuths used any and all information available to them to crack the Colonel's recipe. That meant adjusting the recipes through trial and error in their home kitchens and soaking up every scrap of information available to them. For instance, this photo, released by KFC, shows the 11 herbs and spices kept in the vault at KFC's headquarters in Louisville, Kentucky. The forum members absolutely picked this photo apart and made sure that their 11 herbs and spices matched the coloring of the vials in the picture. Notice those letters next to each ingredient in the TC34D recipe? Those refer to the corresponding lettered vials. Finally, as you might deduce from the titling method used for these recipes, TC34D is hardly the only one that these forum members came up with. It just happens to be the one that's the most famous, but there's certainly not unanimous consent that it's the most accurate. There are dozens of other recipes worthy of consideration, developed in these forums and otherwise, that we simply don't have the time to test in today's episode. Now then, how excited are we to try the crowdsourced recipe that harnesses the power of the entire internet? Approximately this excited. So sorry. Folks, this recipe calls for Tahitian vanilla bean. How could you not be excited about this? So after tasting KFC's original recipe, we took a bite out of TC34D.
Nope. No, that's
not.
Alright, I'm gonna go with this one. It's not the right shade of blue, but it's close enough.
There's more paprika.
Gonna need a thread needle. I'm gonna go with the long one.
right.
All right.
I need a thread.
Tasty actually do some very different parts.
Oh, yeah. Even better that. People back and what are you doing? You guys. You were so, they're like, it's gotta be.
I'll use the rest of this button thread, I guess.
Just focused on getting the 12 herbs. It's like 11
It's
herbs.
almost like people who do analysis on the internet overcomplicate things. They ask you how you are, and you just have to say that you're fine.
So Stephanie, when it comes to
There we go.
crowdsource, on a scale of 1 to 10, what's the matching for KFC?
It's like 1. Sorry, guys.
Right? Like it wasn't.
Sorry, I swear. We follow your recipe. We wanted it, like, we are on Team Internet. We root for Team Internet.
Yeah.
This was just not our day.
Yeah, the group think was not really working. I would say, yeah, maybe it's a 2, maybe it's a 1. It's low.
Right.
The sweetness is the thing that
The vanilla, what are you doing in there?
the vanilla really threw it off.
Now, it bears repeating that TC34D's aim was attempting to recreate the Colonel's personal, pre-corporate version of the secret recipe, so the goal of the recipe wasn't so much to match the taste of the contemporary KFC chicken, but I gotta say, the taste of TC34D was just so different. Not bad, it was really tasty, but to me it just didn't seem related to KFC's original recipe fried chicken in any discernible way. Tahitian vanilla is really sweet, and that sweetness really came through in the recipe, in a way that didn't really match my expectation of what southern fried chicken usually tastes like.
So it leaves us with a very clear winner. In terms of the matching potential, the 99X very clearly took it by a wide margin.
So does that actually solve the problem? Because the whole problem here, right, is that it is a secret recipe, and we've solved that secret recipe using a secret spice.
So, okay, it doesn't solve it in actuality, but it does solve the problem, which is that you can't recreate KFC original
gonna be frilly
recipe
like that.
at your house. Actually, you can get very close, where you take it, you run with it, and you can recreate KFC at home.
However, there is one final ingredient that we have to test. Recently, KFC and all their marketing craziness decided, hey, why don't we release a telenovela-style romance called A Recipe for Seduction, starring Mario Lopez as Colonel Sanders. We actually cover this over on Film Theory today, so if you haven't seen that episode, check it out.
There's an icon. There's
an icon in one of the corners.
Somewhere.
Probably this corner.
Yeah, probably that one.
Probably this corner. And in A Recipe for Seduction, there was something that we thought might be a hidden code, alluding to a secret ingredient that none of these recipes cover. Every time that Colonel Sanders is cooking in the kitchen or whatever, he is associated with citrus, some sort of magical bowl of citric fruit out there. It's very odd. Again, we go much deeper in depth in this on the Film Theory episode, but we wanted to test it out. We're like, is citrus the secret ingredient that KFC is trying to communicate to us via their telenovela made-for-TV special starring Mario Lopez.
You never know. We just leave no stone unturned and wanted some more fried chicken.
Okay, I know this sounds outrageous. Like, is Matt Pat honestly expecting you to believe that the Colonel Sanders put fruit in his recipe? No, but KFC corporate did, long after they purchased the company from the Colonel. Remember how KFC started using soybean oil in order to cut down on the trans fat? Well, citric acid, the chemical that gives citrus fruits their distinct sour taste, can be added to soybean oil to make it last longer. And that's exactly what KFC has started to do in recent years. They even say so on their website. Now, citric acid has a strong taste. Is it possible that it affects the flavor of contemporary KFC chicken, even though it's just an additive to the oil and not an explicit ingredient in the recipe? Was A Recipe for Seduction trying to tell us something by jamming over 70 fruit cameos into a 16-minute mini-movie? There's only one way to find out, friends.
So here we go, friends. This is our final batch.
Almost there.
The 99X recipe plus the secret ingredient of citric acid from the telenovela A Recipe for Seduction.
First, we tasted KFC's original recipe one final time before moving on to the grand finale.
This is it, with citric acid.
Wow.
Is that the secret ingredient?
Am I imagining that it tastes a little bit closer?
It does taste a little bit closer. It tastes a little
Is it a
bit
9 now?
I think this bumps it up to a 9. I think this is it.
That can't be. Really?
Mario Lopez would lie.
Because it does taste just a little bit closer.
It does. It does. It is slightly closer.
Are we making it up? No, I don't think we are.
No. It's got, I don't know.
What?
It's weird. It is very strange, but
I thought this was going to be such an anticlimactic episode, and we were going to get there and be like, nope, no difference. But I swear it's a little closer.
it is. Yeah. Yep.
I can't stop it.
Wow.
No way.
There it is.
Huh.
Did I pierce myself?
There
we go.
That we've stumbled across it. I think if you take the 99X recipe, you crank it up just a little bit.
Add a little bit more than, yeah.
A little bit more than the ratios in the recipe that we got online. Plus a little bit of citric acid from Recipe for Seduction in the oil. I think you got it.
This is KFC.
I think you have made KFC. It's real good, guys.
It's great. I really recommend trying it at home. If you don't have a deep fryer, I think you could achieve very similar results with a pan fryer.
Pan fry. I think that we have probably gotten as close as humanly possible to the KFC secret recipe without actually getting access to the KFC secret recipe.
I'm pretty convinced too.
I think this is it, guys.
What a successful episode.
This was great. Successful in many
I like
ways.
that.
So there you have it.
Alright, so cut.
KFC secret recipe.
We'll call it close enough.
A little bit of citric acid.
A little bit left, maybe for a small one.
Or at least
We just found out.
that's just a theory. A food theory. Bon appetit.
Oh, God. That was so gross.
Thanks for watching, theorists. If you're hungry for more Kentucky Fried content, be sure to check out the other KFC-themed episodes that we uploaded today at the same time as this episode. No, KFC didn't sponsor us, but if they wanted to, we'd totally be open for it. The Film Theory episode rips into that made-for-TV romance movie starring the Colonel himself and gives you more detail as to how we landed on citric acid as the secret ingredient. And the Game Theory episode looks at KFC's, let's call it interesting, foray into gaming consoles. You're welcome, KFC. The least you could do is send us just a high-powered computer powered by chicken. That is no joke, that is what that thing is, and we're talking about it over on Game Theory. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to go play some
Yeah,
Ring
what do you
Fit
think?
trying to burn off the bajillion fried chicken
It looks
calories
good.
I just ingested.
I don't mind doing clowns.
Low energy. Taste this.
But I've been in the sun all day.
Lift it up.
Oh, that almost went in my face. Alright.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Food Theory, and welcome
Whatever.
to the North
Need some
Carolina
eyeballs.
State Fair. Now, the state fair is all across America.
A little big.
And what's even more iconic than the state fair is actually the food that you find at the state fair.
I
Now,
like
there's
these guys.
multiple members of the Pierce that have worked at the state fair before. Especially this guy right here, Food Theory creative director Santi. Hello, Santi.
He looks so confused. Sure don't have any fangs? Do I have to order eyes again? Ooh, that's lovely. If I can find another one. Oh, that's a nice one too.
Deep fried peanut butter pickles topped with
Oh,
powdered
found it.
sugar
Okay.
and chocolate sauce. And that is just one of 20 different foods that we're going to get through by the end of the day today.
There we go.
Our mission is to scientifically calculate these single effects, scary, weird, fair food that you can get in your local area. How you feel about that, Santi?
Honestly, I'm terrified, especially now seeing all the different foods that we have around us that we're going to be trying. I don't know how any of these flavors will work. Yeah. So I'm really interested in trying them and then seeing why these things might actually work.
So that, my friends, is our goal today. What is the scientifically best fair food for your dollar when you come to the state fair? So wish us
Isn't that
luck.
adorable?
We have 5 other foods waiting for us at the picnic table.
Okay,
over
where
there
are the
that
horns?
The rest of Team Fierce has gathered
There we go.
for round number 1. It's going to be a weird, interesting...
Wasn't I putting this on the rabbit? I'll make more.
Experience. We tested 15 different iconic dishes, starting with round 1 here in a minute. But obviously, we didn't just dive into this one willy-nilly, eating things like Kirby on vacation. No, we had ourselves a rubric by which we were going to measure every food to determine the scientifically best one. First and foremost, flavor. This one's pretty obvious, but it's not just about whether it tastes good. There are some foods that are so extreme and so out there, you can only get them at the fair. Extra mega bonus points for any times they
Extra mega bonus points?
together that didn't seem like they should go together at all. Second criteria, portability. Am I going to be able to eat this while I'm walking around at the fair? And finally, the third part of the formula, barfability. How badly is this going to make us want to throw up when you hit the spinning, whirly ride? It is a fair after all. And if you're not going on the pop-up roller coasters with questionable safety regulations, did you really go to the fair in the first place? So, without any further ado, let's just dive into round 1. Or, in other words, our breakfast.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, breakfast is served. We've got whatever this thing is supposed to be.
This is rattlesnake topped with a venom sauce. Whatever that green is apparently the venom of the rattlesnake we're going to be eating.
Is that really the venom, or is that just a...
I hope to everything that it's not.
The beauty of this episode is I've walked through state fairs for my entire life, and I've always been too scared to try a lot of these extreme foods. Because 1, they sound disgusting, but 2, they're also like expensive. So like, why would I pay for that when I can go, you know, buy like a chicken pita or a steak on a stick instead? So today, we're gonna try out all the things I've always been too scared to try and see just how good they are. This is
Okay, you just sit there while your horns start to set. Okay? And your eyes.
They literally gave us like
Okay,
half the
I'm gonna have to do the eyes again.
Amazing. That's dense too. It is a hefty boy. And then finally, what's this? This looks like a corn dog, but clearly not.
Deep fried Snickers.
Oh, deep fried. Oh, that's like, I like that of everything in front of us. The deep fried Snickers is the thing that's like the least extreme. I like that.
Okay,
this is
the
all
boat
parades, like,
is
here's our appetizer,
not
deep fried
Boeing.
pickle, followed by the main course of sushi and rattlesnake, and then there's your dessert. So, without any further ado, Santi, before this gets cold, really, I want to make sure that we dive into this quickly. Taste, how does it feel in your stomach, and is it going to make you sick?
Maybe this one.
Yeah.
I like wire ribbon. I used to really like it. And then eventually I learned that it just makes things look wrinkly all the time.
Just make sure not to take accountability for it. She's like, no, the owner made this. I just work here.
I asked her where the cake because it feels like some sort of like pregnancy fever dream. So for taste, what are you getting it? Out of 10?
A 5.
Because it is the first thing of the day.
Yeah.
It is a solid 3 for me. Sorry. It's just not working. When it comes to portability, like
Thankfully, it's not too hard to get the wires out of these guys.
A 1 right now.
Get out, my man. I gotta say, this is a...
With a thumbs down. Well,
I'm not gonna be
maybe this live stream isn't for you. That's okay.
How do you manhandle your pickle? And then lastly, how sick is this going to make us when we're on a ride? How heavy is it in your stomach?
This is going to be an 8 for me in heaviness. It has to be for now.
I was going to say, this is probably a 6. I expect if I had more than just like a bite and a half, it would be probably closer to a 7 or 8. Maybe not the most auspicious start in terms of appetizer, but now, I love sushi. You love sushi?
I love sushi.
Let's take this a little longer.
This is from Raleigh Restaurant Bulgogi. They have restaurants and food trucks outside of the fair, and they've already asked us to coat this in barbecue sauce, and then your assignment is to dip it in the aioli for everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, just to pull back the curtain of this shoot, it is 9 a.m. You seem confused. I am, but I like it. Right, it's really good. Okay, as long as you like it. I think this is great. If I didn't know that I have 18 more foods to try of varying degrees of disgusting, I would eat this whole thing immediately. This is fantastic. It's on a stick, and that's just the
There we
thing.
go. A nice big bow. We'll go right there.
A real low low to a real high high. So the taste,
Which I can't put anything at 10 yet, but it is going to be a 9 for me.
right? I was gonna say, like, this is a 9. Portability.
It's on chopsticks, it's great, and it doesn't fall apart. That's the other thing, it's staying together as we bite into it.
Oh,
10.
I'd say like 9 again.
Yeah.
Probably 10, but like, you know, this is about as good as you can get. So let's say 9. Then
I know,
lastly,
it's a
how
thrilling
sick
live
is
stream.
this?
I would put this out of how sick
Try
it
to
would
keep
make me
your
like a
excitement to a minimum, guys. I'm not fighting.
Yeah, so on the sickness scale,
I'm gonna have to
is
use-
low good or is high good? Because
Low is good, high is bad.
You do realize
Yeah.
that by doing that, it's making it incredibly complicated. If 10 is good in 2 categories,
Fair
then
enough,
10 is
fair
not
enough,
as
fine.
good.
So this would be a 7.
7!
Yes.
I agreed, I agree.
We'll do that.
I would say, yeah, 7 passes the roller coaster test. Really solid. This is so good. Oh, man! I'm already so hyped about this. We are already starting at such a high high. This is fantastic. Now, let's move on to, I think, maybe the dark horse of round 1 here, which is the rattlesnake corn dog. Spoiler alert, it was not the dark horse. It was fine, but it didn't really have the bite that I expected out of rattlesnake. In terms of taste, I'd say maybe a 3.
I was gonna say a 2.
In terms of portability, easy win. I think that's, you know, corn dog, it's on a stick. That's like probably solid 9, just like the sushi roll.
Yeah, I would give it a 9 as well.
And then in terms of making me sick, does it pass the roller coaster test?
I think it does solely on the principle of it being so mild.
Yeah, probably about like a 5.
I would give it a 6.
So with our appetizer and main course out of the way for breakfast, and reminder, this is just breakfast. There are still 15 more foods coming down the pipe.
Where is
Probably
the
come back up the pipe
roses?
eventually. We've got ourselves dessert round 1. This is what I initially thought was chicken, but is in reality cookie dough covered in white chocolate with maple bacon. And oh boy, we did not skip on support. Let me tell you, the cloudy white goop is so really gives me a lot of confidence on this one.
There.
Oh, no, you had me until you lost. Let me take you a metal plate. I think cookie dough. It's chocolate
Pretty little tiny flowers I got.
It's like a Snickers.
I don't know why I got them, but I got them.
Wonderful. And then eventually, my teeth found the bacon. And all of a sudden, I a little romp through cookie dough land became an awkward, chewy, gummy, meaty moment, and all the joy and love that I had in my heart for this dish went out the window.
As soon as you bite into it, it's the same thing. I love cookie dough. I was like, oh, okay. And then there's like
I'm gonna have to fix this first. It's driving me nuts.
The bacon in my mouth was just weird. And there's like a weird bitterness that the bacon gives it. No, none of this.
It's sticky, it is gooey, it is salty and meaty. It is none of the adjectives that you really want while walking around the fair. From a textural standpoint, not great. From a flavor standpoint, not great. If you have like a cookie dough on a stick option near you, just go with the cookie dough. Don't complicate it. This is one of those ones that I think falls into the trap of overcomplicating it for the sake of being like interesting or different.
Absolutely.
In terms of taste,
I'm gonna give it a 3.
I think I liked it a little bit more. I'd bump it up to a 5, but the bacon just brought it down. Portability.
So yes, it's on a stick, but I'm gonna give it a 2 because of how much the bacon falls down. Look at that white chocolate sauce going all over your hands in the wind everywhere. You're gonna have slap people behind you with it. This is definitely gonna be a 2.
Yeah, this is a 2 because also the cookie dough isn't frozen enough or solid enough to hold its shape, and so it's like sliding all around the stick as I kind of go and walk around.
Don't
Yeah,
think I
I'm
can
gonna
do
give it a
this
2. And then lastly, how
here, but we'll give it a try.
Already by itself can make you pretty sick. I'm gonna give this a 3.
I'm gonna say that's a 4 as well, just because it's lighter, but at the same time, the flavor is not
Gives it a bit more of a snout.
Oh boy, we went downhill real fast there. To be honest, it didn't get much better with the deep fried Snickers bar that we tried last, even though that was an experience for Santi.
I don't know what to expect and I'm scared.
This is it. This is the dream. So
Shall I?
shove that dream in your mouth and take a big old bite. Oh.
I don't like it. Snickers by themselves are already fairly chewy and sticky. But then with the corn dog or with the dough around it, the dough just goes away. Really all I'm eating is Snickers with extra calories.
Welcome to the fair.
I'm gonna give it a 5.
There we go.
because,
That's a little bit
it's not
better on the
bad,
snout.
It's also not mind-blowing, it's just Snickers.
In terms of taste,
childs and start growing your own veggies at home with Miracle Grow Organics. 100% organic ingredients for 100% organic harvests. Miracle Grow Organics, no better way to grow.
5 right down the middle. There's nothing special about it, but there's also nothing like inherently bad about it. So I'd give that 9 in terms of portability. And then last but certainly not least, is that going to make you sick on a ride?
I would give this a 5 also.
Okay. I was going to say this is probably a 7 for me just because it's a Snickers bar. It's not particularly big or heavy. This one right here was a perfect example of how you can definitely have too much of a good thing. Snickers, great. Deep fried stuff, also great. But putting those two together just ruined the texture and flavor for us. What you're left with is just a Snickers bar with a whole lot of extra calories. And that was not what we were looking for at the beginning of a day where we're going to consume 15 of the most caloric items that we've ever set our eyes to. So with round number 1 done, it was time to hit the first batch of rides to test that all-important barfability factor. But first, Santi and I had to go down the slide like the man-children that we are.
Oh my god, hold on. I'm gonna get caught.
Oh, and spoiler, it is all downhill for Santi after this ride, but you'll just have to keep watching for that one.
2 rides down, our stomachs are starting to feel a little iffy.
What do you think?
This one should push it over.
Does that work?
No cell phones allowed.
A little extra.
It's third-party camera
The
person
cuteness.
outside, so get a good close-up of the face.
I have a very strong stomach, though.
I think after the second round of food is when we'll find some trouble.
We're a fourth of the way through.
Okay, I'm gonna do yellow.
Like he's like, oh, you haven't
Just try not to have the same colors next to each
Here's
other.
the thing. I know that I can't feel worse than I did after the energy drink GT Live that we did. That was one of the worst moments of my life.
Wow, you say that.
Oh, yeah.
You say that.
It's too early in the day.
It is hour 1.5 at this point. Food's 5.
Let's see.
At this point, I was feeling pretty darn good, but Santi was feeling a bit off balance. Oh, you sweet summer child. So with the first round of rides done, it was time to sit back down and have ourselves our much-needed snack. So here we are, fresh off the rides, and how you feeling, Santi?
I'm feeling just a little bit. Like, now that we've had a little bit of time.
There's another one I haven't tried yet.
Yeah, it's interesting. While I was on the ride, I wasn't feeling it, but now that I've had some time to settle off of the rides, I feel a bit uneasy down there. Especially the pickle peanut butter. And I don't know how I can tell that that's the one that I feel, but something in my body is telling me, like, oh, that's the one that's doing it right now. That was only the first 5. We got another 6 foods all lined up. Gonna wait for this tractor to go past. Holding for tractor pull. Good luck, sir. Here we are. We got another 6 lined up. Again, broken down for our lunch here. We've got appetizer of hot Cheetos corn. We have a lot of donuts.
This is the donut round.
We have
There we
I'm
go.
noticing a lot of donuts.
What do you think?
We've got a donut
Cute?
burger. We've got just teeny donuts. What makes these guys?
I think
These
they're
are
cute.
Texas Pete donuts.
You just sit?
Slathered in Texas Pete sauce.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. And we've got a deep
Maybe a
fried
little bit
pie.
smaller,
What is this?
though.
A deep fried pumpkin pie? Deep fried pumpkin pie on the mode. Actually, we're gonna start with this one just because everything's melting right now.
Okay.
Spoiler alert about the deep fried pumpkin pie here. It tastes like a pie from McDonald's.
Yeah.
It's good.
I'm gonna give this a 7, and I'm not a
There we
sweet
go.
person. It's just very, very good for me.
I'd say also 7. Solid. When it comes to portability, I think the results speak for themselves. That's gonna be like a 1.
Yeah.
It's practically a 0. And then lastly, is that gonna make me sick on our next round of rides coming up here?
I don't think so. So this will be a 9.
I would agree. I think that this is totally safe. I feel good about this. Solid 9. All right, next up on round 2's reverse order, we got Texas Pete donuts. So spicy donuts. My palate is like the roller coaster we just rode.
Sickening.
Really?
Do you like this?
I don't hate it. Do I like it? Like is very strong. It's interesting. I'm not immediately disgusted by it. It goes from to
Alright, so the sheep is done. Horns, eyes, flowers.
Have you ever accidentally gotten any sort of like cleaning product in your mouth?
Yes.
This tastes like that taste to me.
I kind of like it. This is so far probably the biggest surprise. What
Who
say you,
is
Santi,
got a
on
face
scale?
that needs a little zhuzh?
Wow.
You.
I disagree. I'm gonna give it a solid
I don't know.
7 from
Maybe you
a
don't.
portability standpoint.
I'll give this an 8.
Yeah.
I should
It's not
actually
quite as
finish putting your
seamless
horns
as
on properly, though.
it's all around one. So I would agree. 8 feels about right for this one. And lastly, this is going to make you throw up on a ride.
Absolutely. This is a 2 on that scale.
So that one I'm going to go with maybe a 4. It turns out as much of a surprise to anyone that the so-called donut round was kind of hit or miss. Aside from Santi and I not agreeing on the Texas Pete Donuts, the Krispy Kreme burger was also a surprising disappointment. The mac and cheese bacon sundae, meanwhile, yeah, you heard that one correctly, the mac and cheese bacon sundae. Oh, buddy! Oh, buddy! Well, Francisco was not good on that one. But we weren't going to let this round go without a surprise contender. Here, this one might be more up your speed. Santi tends to like himself some healthy food, so this is a fruit. It's a little pouch of water with a bunch of nerds. Look at me eating my fruit. This is my fruit portion for the day. It's like saying eating french fries is your vegetable. It's nice, it's light, it's packed with flavor. This is almost like an elevated version of like a gusher. This is phenomenal. Everyone's talking about launching humanity to the moon and things like that. No, this right here.
I could have put them more off to the side, but I didn't.
Give that a 10.
Maybe for next time.
Wherever you want. Just put it in your pocket. I'm gonna sneak out of here with those in my pocket.
And then lastly, is this gonna make me sick? No, actually, straight 10s across the board.
This is the yardstick by which everything else will be measured against.
I know that there's still more episode to go here and more analysis to be done. But man, if this episode is dedicated to figuring out what is the scientifically perfect fair food, this is it. This is it. That is round 2, ladies and gentlemen. Which means
You know what I don't understand? Dippin' Dots.
more fair excitement.
How do you like Dippin' Dots?
What? Oh, buddy. It is 2,000 pounds and it's going to blow your mind. With their stomachs filled to the brim, it was time to push our
Alright.
once again on the tower drop and the
Whatever this guy is, he's done.
was not doing Santi's stomach any favor. I was feeling pretty good. Santi, though, I guess no amount of refreshing candy grapes was going to outweigh the mac and cheese bacon sundae. In case it wasn't clear what substituted for the ice cream in that quote-unquote sundae, potato, barely cooked potato. Not gonna lie, it's pretty funny how much he was struggling here because this was an episode he himself pitched. But anyway, with that conclusion, we were able to find a nice quiet spot for
Oh, purple. Wonder if I got enough purple.
Rougher for Santi.
That was not good.
You were this close. I was watching you. You were doubled
You can do freaking purple. Yes. A big frilly purple neck. Thing, whatever. Yeah, we're gonna do that.
Scavenging the remainder of the fair, and we're able to scrounge up 4 other odd, interesting foods. We've got ourselves this beauty right here, the dill pickle donut. Because pickles so far have been working so well. We've got a turkey leg that is the entirety of a Thanksgiving meal, all in one package. This is a mystery rod, chicken, bacon, ranch, waffle on a stick. You couldn't have any more adjectives in there. It's great. And then last, but in this case we're going to start with, this is the Big Mac egg roll.
Big Mac egg roll. Oh, do I have yellow?
I did not expect it to be just a big old pocket of meat.
The most normal thing we've had today so far.
Yeah, 6.5, 7, I think is about right. Next up, portability.
I mean, it's easy to walk around. It's a little greasy, I guess, but I mean, it's not going to fall apart on you at all. It's very compact. I'm going to give it a 9.
Yeah. And lastly, is that going to make you sick on a ride?
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, I may be feeling the nausea from before, but I definitely think this wouldn't help.
This is, again, one of those, like, classic fair foods where it's fried, it's heavy, it's full of flavor, but it's also going to be sitting in your stomach for a while.
I'm going to give it a very low 3. 2.
I would say it's not that bad. I would say this is probably going to be like a 4.5 or a 5 right there. So across the board, solid. Don't recommend buying a whole lot of stuff afterward. Next up, we got chicken waffle on a stick covered with bacon.
Another 15 minutes.
I am hopeful about this.
Maybe I can put something else on the stairs.
Oh man, it sounded like he's dancing.
Savory wise, I think this has been my favorite so far, but I'm going to give it a 9.
This is a flavor combination all in one stick that is risky, and this is either a big win or a big loss, and this is a big win. So I'm going to go 9 there. Portability.
I'll give it a 6, because you're losing a lot of bacon if you're going around. Bacon's on a stick. I'll give it a 6, 6.5.
I would agree. You're losing a lot of the special bacon on top, so 6.5 makes sense. Lastly, they're going to be passing the roller coaster test.
I would give this like a 7, because it isn't the lightest thing, but it's definitely not going to make you throw up. It feels like a compact meal. Like, it's perfect.
Yeah. Agreed.
2 solid starts.
Right?
Yeah.
Not bad. I do like the fact that we selected this very quiet corner of the fair. There's a little lighthouse behind us and stuff. It's very romantic.
Look at us. Who would have thought?
Before we dip into this one, Santi, I think it would be nice if we just took a minute to say something that we're thankful for.
I'm thankful for you, for bringing me along to my first state fair. This was a very unforgettable experience, for better or for worse.
I'm thankful to share this experience with all of you. That's so nice.
I know, yeah, fine, everybody else. I thought it was you and me.
I am VOPNG YouTuber Matt Pat. I don't go out in public and do this, but it's nice. It's nice to be able to hang out with the team.
So, my question to you.
So anyway.
Forget about that. That's enough of that. Should we use the fork?
Oh, yeah. No.
No! I'm gonna...
How it feels to chew 5 gum. Stimulates your senses.
I guess I'll follow Santi's lead and eat it in the worst way possible.
Yeah, there you go. Like a Greek god just being fed grapes. Tell me that's that delicious.
It is delicious.
So there was very little risk taking in the flavor, but because of that, it is the most cohesive thing that we've had today.
Yeah.
Everything just works together.
I think that's a fair statement. Yeah, it is the single most cohesive, broadest item that we've had, but we know it's a tried and true
Well,
formula.
we gotta use up this old material anyway, so it's been hanging around the craft room for literally years.
This will be my second 10 of the day.
Wow!
Yeah.
Second 10.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
It's really good.
It's really solid. I mean, it's Thanksgiving dinner at the fair, right? So I would say 9. It's not quite there, whereas the grapes surprised me, which I give a little bonus point to. But I mean, definitely top tier. Super solid. When it comes to portability, you know, we've already alluded to it. 0. Even if you wanted to lift it up by the moment it's falling apart, this thing is a mess.
Yeah.
This is one of those dishes that
I
requires
believe I just
you to
used the.
one
That's
lone
still a
picnic
lot.
table that was just abandoned by someone, or nice quiet spot by the lake with your best co-worker, friend, co-host. Neutral bro fist. Yeah, there we go. And lastly, is this one gonna be up-chucking on the Gravitron?
As long as you're not eating the whole thing, I think this would be like a 9.
Yeah.
This would pass.
Our final item of the day, at least that we're trying on camera, this dill pickle donut. Here we go. One last one for the road.
That's not a donut.
I need to lay back and think about this for a second. This is not nearly as bad as you think it is. To me, the
Yeah, I don't like dill pickles, or probably it
the
is.
texture of it is so nice. The flavor of it is not overwhelming at all. It's just a very pleasant sweet bread. So, across the board, dill pickle donut. Shocking.
Yeah.
Shockingly good. So, when it comes to taste,
I'm just eating it from the bottom. It's so good. So I'm gonna give this an 8.
yeah, I think I got to knock it a little bit for the top, which isn't doing anything for me, so I'm going to knock it down to a 7. But still, solid performer. And I love the portability.
I mean, you gotta give it a 10. Like, it doesn't fall apart. It all sticks together. You can eat it with one hand. It's not falling over itself.
I'm gonna say, yeah, I would actually agree with 10. There's no stickiness to it. There's no greasiness to it. It is all super well held together. It's nice, compact, tight. It's really solid. Lastly, when it comes to the roller coaster test, am I picking this one up?
Absolutely not. I'm gonna give this a 10.
Yeah, this is absorbing everything in your stomach. Right now, this is literally a sponge for all the grease that I have from that Big Mac egg roll and everything else that we've had today. Like, this is a beautiful sponge that's really kind of neutralizing everything that came before. That really kind of brings us to the end of our fair.
There we go.
I went into this episode excited, but also like knowing that this is going to be gross. But I think what this has shown me is that it pays to try new things.
There we go.
Because at the end of the day, you might
I like that.
discover a
What do you think?
unlike anything you've ever had before, and something that you might might be a new
Look at a double frilly neck.
Just the theory. A food theory. Bon appetit. Oh, it's so cute. We also said goodbye too early because we still have to dive in and decide which fair foods are going to come out on top. Now, we made our way through too many dishes here to look at them individually.
Okay, looking at this one, it needs a little bit more.
Top 3 contenders
Look
in
at
the
Bo.
flavor
How about
and
you?
affordability categories. The sushi on a stick from round 1, the candy grapes
It's
from
not
round 2,
perfect, but
the
it will work.
turkey leg from round 3. Although the turkey leg got itself the impressively bad and only 0 in the portability category in the entire competition, the strong showing in the other 2 categories catapulted it to the top over the likes of a donut burger, donuts with hot sauce, and literal venomous snake. To start off with our round 1 winner by a large peanut butter marred margin, the sushi roll. This deep fried barbecue coated spam roll was the highlight of my breakfast. A sentence I hope I don't have to repeat anytime
time before I died. Otherwise, it was firing on all cylinders. And we may have been a bit biased considering the weak start that we had right before, but it was really something that everyone here enjoyed. So why then is this one not our clear-cut winner? Well, sure, rice and meat are fairly good for the steak on the surface, and tempura batter is a better alternative than most other deep-fried batters since it uses less oil. Unfortunately, the dish was still fried, and fried foods are heavy in your stomach. And then you coat that with barbecue sauce, it is a recipe for upchucking disaster. The high amount of fat in the deep frying process slows down the stomach, making you feel bloated, even nauseous, especially when you're on rides with questionable safety mechanisms. And then couple that with the high sugar content of the barbecue sauce, which can also lead to increased gas production and bloating, and suddenly the healthy components of this dish are canceled out. The other reason why this favorite comes up a little bit short is because of the spicy. Hot sauce is a stomach irritant. Mayonnaise is, once again, high in fat, putting the final nail in this delicious coffin. Which leads us then to round two's winner, the candied grapes. Notice candied grapes being far and away one of our favorite flavor and textures of the day. Fortunately, science doesn't agree with us when it comes to crowning these bad boys the fairest of them all. At first glance, grapes are harmless. Like I mentioned during the tasting, they're mainly water and packed with vitamins and minerals. They're also rich in fiber, so we assume that they wouldn't do anything to upset our stomachs, and anything would keep us regular as we scroll through.
Don't have any
pom-poms. Natural sugar that causes gas, which sure seems like more of a problem for the people waiting in line behind you at the rides, but they also contain a lot of
There's a little yellow in your eye, so this would work.
Acting as a defense mechanism against animals and insects. Grapes and other plants have tannins, which are bitter, deter things from eating the fruit or seeds before they're ripe. Now,
You guys must be lost if you wandered into my live stream, but you know, you're welcome to hang out for a while. I'm not very entertaining, but you're welcome to drop in every once in a while, see if I burnt myself again.
Which can not only give you nausea, but also diarrhea. I don't know about you, but worrying about barfing is bad enough at the fair. You'll need to think about it coming out the other end as well. Especially at the fair, where the bathroom situation is sketchy at best. Either extremely packed, or, God forbid, the porta potty. So for that reason,
the porta potty.
Thanksgiving turkey leg. Now, don't get me wrong, this guy is not just the
Porta potties are perfect examples of why humanity should go extinct. I've seen in there, and I'm not talking about shit.
Lean protein, like turkey, helps promote gut health because it helps to maintain a balance of good and bad bacteria in your stomach. Speaking of that stomach, digesting fat is a pretty big chore. It can lead to that super full, pukey feeling that you get on rides. So keeping fat content down is going to be the name of the game if you want to avoid vomiting on your next tilt-a-whirl. Turkey happens to be one of the leanest protein choices you're going to get at the fair, so this is going to be one of the smartest choices that you can make, as long as you're avoiding the skin, which tends to have a lot more fat content. Sweet potatoes are arguably the most important element here. You see, part of the reason you get queasy on rides when you go up, down, and all around is because your body's adrenaline release actually causes increased gastric acid production. All that sloshing around, and suddenly, well, you know, you get the picture. Carbs
I kind of like how long these are. Alright, we'll keep them long then.
Keeping your gut balanced and everything inside. Sweet potatoes are also the double whammy of being a fast digesting carbohydrate, so it's less of a load on your vulnerable stomach. The final ingredient, the cranberry sauce, not normally the best choice because cranberries have themselves a fairly high acid content, but that same acid is going to help speed up the digestion of turkey so that you don't feel overwhelmingly full by the time you strap in for the roller coaster. In total, that combination of all three of those components is what makes it the best fair food that you can possibly find. So there you have it, friends. We did it so you don't have to. We ventured into the unknown. We tried all the scariest fair foods. Put our stomachs through an adventure that we won't soon forget, that we can find the best fair food and keep you from emptying it all out at once. The next time you find yourself in an amusement park or fair, skip right past the deep fried peanut butter pickle and opt for the giant Thanksgiving turkey leg. For dessert, hop into some cotton candy grapes.
There we go.
If you notice the stark difference between how well Sanjay and I handled the rides with all that food, it's probably because of today's sponsor, AG1. He's a little late to the game, but I make sure to drink AG1 every morning to help support my digestion and alleviate some of the bloating that I'm bound to feel from episodes like this one. Eat deep fried pickles with peanut butter, not great for my gut health, but AG1 balances all that out. Humans may all have
Dear God. What monster created?
That's where AG1 comes in, as a foundational nutritional supplement with a science-driven formulation of micronutrients, phytonutrients, and essential symbiotics that support brain health.
Alright, everybody back in the basket.
You may know that I'm not much of a coffee drinker, but AG1 every morning I get the focus and energy that I need all day, not to
I
crash
do
or
have this
grow
blue. It's got some silver streak in it.
I'm ancient by YouTube age standards. It doesn't really hurt that AG1 helps combat visible signs of aging. Health is all about consistency.
See how this looks all shitty? Watch when I take out the the wire.
Deep fry, no donut buns, and most importantly, none of that cookie dough. So if you want to avoid hurling on a tilt-a-whirl, start developing healthy habits by heading on over to drinkag1.com/foodtheorist to get started on your first purchase. If you do, you'll receive a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 and K2.
Yep, definitely YouTube must be broken tonight if they're pushing my live stream like they're desperate.
OODTHEORISTS
Oh well.
to get started. Thanks again to AG1 for sponsoring today's video. And as always, we'll see you next week.
Discover oat-rich chocolate that's made to melt you. New Lindor Vegan.
It's ready to go.
Chocolate is vegan. Oh, oat milk. Okay. There we go. There we go.
Pixel in the clutch. Google Pixel now. Even better on Bell.
Blue.
Everywhere you look online right now, we're seeing variations of the same video.
Ordered every single fast food burger.
Every single fast food burger.
Every single burger.
Every major fast food burger.
Everybody trying every burger from every restaurant. But seriously, who has time for all that? We here at Theorist are all about efficiency, a smarter approach to things. If I'm going to be having myself a burger from every restaurant across America, then I'm going to be doing it in one big bite. That's why today we've concocted a new, unholy creation that the internet has never seen before. A single burger formed from mixing together all the elements of all most popular joints across America. A Frankenstein's monster of a creation. A Frankenburger, to use my friend Sophia Nygaard's terminology. It is the distillation of the perfectly average burger. But what's it going to taste like? And what secrets will we learn along the way in creating this puppy? Hope you're hungry, friends, because we've got a beef with beef.
What time is it?
Hello, Internet.
Almost done.
Welcome to Food Theory.
A few more minutes. If I can get this done, I'm gonna call it a night. Gotta put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the steps. 7 if I get this one done. So that'll be not my worst day, but not my best day. But it'll be something, which is still better than nothing.
We don't got time for that. So instead, what if we did it the food theory way? What if we did it the smarter way? What if we went to one of each of the major fast food drive-in restaurants across America and fused all of their burgers together into one average fast food burger? The ultimate burger.
The ultimate average fast food burger.
Right, like basically if you took like the high highs and the low lows and fused them together, who is your C average student?
I'm very excited for this.
As you should be. I am too.
There's a lot of excitement for me. I have not eaten today. And you know me, I get very cranky.
Oh, he is a hungry boy. He's got big muscles that need a lot of energy.
You can't see them in this jacket that I'm busting out of.
Yeah, don't flex too hard. I don't want to bust through that quality theory wear new snap merchandise, which is available via the merch shelf down below.
Nice fun. How smooth.
I have practice. So goal 1 here is to just get a general lay of the land and not just identify who's got the best fast food burger, because that's been done to death. Oh no, friends, in true food theory style, we are overthinking this to a critical level. Fast food will never be the same.
Nor will our stomachs.
Let me introduce you to the contenders for today's episode, and then you can point out the ones that you haven't experienced before. So we've got yourself, your main.
There we go. That's a more appropriate bow for this gentleman. Indeed, indeed.
Which is Five Guys. You got that ultimate classic, Sonic, fastest thing alive. You've got Hardee's or Carl's Jr., depending on where in the country you are. You've got Culver's, which is another one of those boys that looks like it's kind of surging through the rankings. And lastly, we have our regional favorite, which is Cookout. If we were filming this over on the West Coast, this would have been In-N-Out.
Yeah.
But because we're filming this one in North Carolina, we thought Cookout was a good example of that.
I'm a creature of habit as well, so whenever I do have my cheat day or I
I'll
have
not
my
be
fast
invited
food
to the
and I go all
cookout.
out, it's usually
I've not
McDonald's.
earned that.
And I thought
Right.
Sonic went bankrupt.
Maybe someday
Started
I
in
can get a plate.
2005. And so I'm really excited to try most of these.
Alright, so the way this is ultimately going to break down is in 3 separate phases. Phase number 1, what you've seen on YouTube 1,000 times before. We're going to try all the different burgers and just give our general assessment of the full, complete package. Then for phase 2,
we're going to look under the hood and look at the individual components of each burger. So we're going to look at the bun, we're going to look at the patty, we're going to look at the toppings.
Basically deconstructing the burger so we can get an analytical assessment of who's got the best individual elements there. And then finally in phase 3, the monstrosity comes to life. We take all
the buns, we take all the patties, we take all the toppings and fuse them together into one beautiful, beastly, disgusting, wonderful burger, the Frankenburger.
There we
Probably
go.
should have done this on Halloween. So without any further ado, I'm hungry, he's hungry, his muscles need feeding. Let's get to tasting. All right, let's just work our way down the line with a
What do you think?
standard and a classic here, the quarter pounder with cheese. Now, Santi, what was the rationale for choosing these particular burgers?
So we wanted to make sure to equalize them across the board. So we stuck with one patty. All of these will have onions, pickles, and the condiments that come as is.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I did good today. I did good today.
Classic, iconic. I'm actually not a quarter pounder with cheese guy. If I'm going to McDonald's, I'm getting a single hamburger with only ketchup.
You're done?
What's that?
Oh, we can't be friends.
So this is really interesting. Usually when I'm eating burgers, I don't get the onions on them because
Oh,
the
wait a minute.
onion dominates the flavor of
There's this little blue boy right here.
onion, I'm getting the Thousand Island.
Probably won't fit, but that's okay. Give it a try.
As it is. Big Mac sauce does not have Thousand Island in it.
Get out of here!
So the tang that most people think is Thousand Island comes from the white vinegar that they put in and the pickle juice.
Wait, so what is McDonald's special sauce?
They're gonna come after me for this. It is mayonnaise, yellow mustard. You can get fancy with the mustard, but keep it to yellow mustard, white wine vinegar, paprika, garlic powder, onion powder, pickle juice, and relish. And what you want to do is really finely dice onion, mix it all in there. There you go. You got a Big Mac sauce.
How do you know that?
Because I make my own Big Mac sauce.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's one of those things. People think that ketchup goes into it, but it doesn't. The red hue comes from the paprika. So if you ever see out there someone saying, "Oh, I got a Big Mac recipe," and they bust out the ketchup, they're wrong.
Next up is the Whopper. There's no onion on this guy.
It's in the mayo. It's kind of hidden in there.
Oh, interesting. So because of the mayo, I actually don't get the onion on this in the same way that I got the onion on the quarter pounder.
And it's funny because all I get is
Shove his head in there.
pickle and the flavor of the meat,
And
which I will say,
too small.
The mayo dominates
I have anything to go
as
with it.
well as that flame grilled flavoring that you get.
This guy?
It's iconic at Burger King. It is an actual
Not really.
seasoning or some additive.
Alright, well, I think I'm done for the night.
To make it taste.
Thank you guys for stumbling into my live stream. I know you didn't come here willingly because I never get pushed on YouTube. But anyway, thank you for stopping in. And I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the night. Good night.